Okay. I think I'm pretty much good. I'm recording.
Cool.
Recording.
Here.
Double record.
Here.
Yeah. Recording. Dogs barking. Perfect.
All right. Shout out to the plugs real quick. Dale's beer, best beer in the game. Drink responsibly.
Source BMX. The ones that
BMX.
support us. So appreciate them.
Non-alcoholic too. Good man.
No, this is not.
Is it?
This is the Easy IPA.
All right.
No non-alcoholics
Good man
tonight.
too.
Dry January.
Easy sounds
Yeah.
non-alcoholic.
So, dude, love to see you.
Yeah, what's
Yeah.
up?
How's
Thank you.
Rogoish?
Thank you for coming.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, been what, 7 years, 10 years since I've seen you? How long has it been?
I was just trying to think about that. I retired from Stranger in 2015 and then moved back to Tulsa. So I think it's like the 15, 16 area. So like 9-10 years.
Yeah, been a long time. Life,
Well, it went really fast.
yeah. Life happens quick. Yeah, except for a little coronavirus pause or something like that. So,
Yeah, that might have fucked some of it up.
Yeah, man, good to see you again. What brings you back into Southern California?
Well,
Aside from wanting to hang out
he
with us
asked
for
me
the
to
night.
do this a few months ago, and I wanted to like fit it in the schedule. And I actually was just in LA I did 30 days of treatment.
okay.
Tired of drinking.
Yeah.
I'm good at it, but it's just not good for health.
Yeah.
Having a family now, just felt like I've tried to kick it a few times, but I just figured why not just have like a really good kickstart and have a place to stay and do it. And
Good man.
it was hard to not be home for Christmas and New Year's, but I feel fucking amazing right now.
Yeah.
And actually, this is day 31. And so going home, it'll be a little easier just to not like swing.
Okay.
It's really easy to drink in Oklahoma and still get.
So that's the thing. You just to really kick this thing in the ass. You're like, I'm gonna go far away from home and just commit to it.
Right. Yeah.
Nice.
It is easy just to fall back in. I feel like now by leaving, I won't have that chance again. So kind of really put like a mark in it.
Little stamp on it.
Yeah.
Well, obviously I discussed with you briefly. You didn't mind us having
Yeah,
some
not at all.
beers, so yeah, not to be disrespectful for the
It's
internet.
good to point
you
it out
know,
though, because
so.
people are gonna be like, "You dicks drinking,"
Yeah.
you know.
I mean,
So-
I used to be I was the guy drinking. you know?
Yeah. I mean, let's.
Drinking, you really drink. You like Miles. I remember just hanging out with you. You'd be sipping Jack and stuff. You know.
My first Subrosa ad, it was just my fist was broken and like in a cast, and like my eye was all busted up from this fight. And in the background, Drew's got 2 handles of whiskey out of focus, like at the spot cruising in, and it was like, we're not even a riding ad. And I was like, oh, and Evan Williams showed up. He's like still in the background.
Let's start from the beginning in a sense, like where, you know, we don't usually do the origin story, how you got into riding and stuff, but like, I feel like you had such a crazy crew back in Tulsa, and then, you know, kind of jumped on the scene and then jumped into that LA life. I feel like we can't overlook Tulsa.
No, totally. You know, that was, I don't even know really the year, but you know, I like won my first bicycle and got into racing and, you know, did the whole, like, I found it.
Yeah.
You know,
How did you win a bicycle?
It's called the Jump Rope for Heart. For those who aren't familiar, it kind of doesn't make sense, but at my elementary school, you would jump rope for the American Heart Association.
Okay.
But the main thing that, like, the whole point of it was you got this envelope and you'd go door to door when it used to be safe and, you know, get money donated into your little packet or whatever. And then like there was like amounts of money that you, like, as you earned it, you got like better prizes and shit.
Okay.
Well, so I like looked at it and it was like $40 was you get entered to win a bicycle from Lee's bike shop down the street from my house. And so I like went door to door, boom, boom, boom. And I ended up having like $38 and something and change. And I went into the laundry room and like stole change from where my mom put it when she's doing the laundry. And like, it was a 40 even. And I turned it in and I was sleeping in the auditorium. I'm in like 4th grade and I'm like sleeping by my friend Brandon. And they called my name and he's like, hey, asshole, get up. And I'm like, what? And he's like, you won. I'm like, holy shit. So I go up on stage and they reveal the bike and I'm just like, not pumped. It's like this bent frame Schwinn blue with like flames on it, but it wasn't like a BMX bike like they said.
Yeah.
And like they're kind of like wondering why I'm like upset looking. But anyway, they take me to the office and my mom picks me up and she's like doing the same thing. She's like, why are you upset? And she's like, I get to take you home and you want a bike. And like we get in the car and she's like, what's wrong? I'm like, it's not a BMX bike. I can't race. There was a guy that raced in my neighborhood. I was like, I want a BMX bike. And so we went to Lee's and it was brand new. And we go in there and like, I see the Schwinn Predator that I want. And it was $75 more than this bike. So she had to put it in layaway for like a month or two. So I gave the bike back. And then like a month or two later, I got the Schwinn Predator and it was fucking game over.
Shout out to moms for layaway.
That's sick. Moms and layaway are a thing of the past like that too. Yeah.
I love how honest you were too. Just like, this is not what I'm trying to ride.
And I wasn't trying to be a little shithead, but like, you know, I'm thinking BMX bike, like everything I can see about it and the kids in the neighborhood.
And you get it and you're like, I can't.
And $40 to win it. Like that's luck of the draw too.
Yeah.
And then when I saw it, I couldn't help myself but be like, I don't want to fucking ride this cruiser, you know? Like, but so it all kind of was like that in Tulsa, like just pre-Instagram, pre-YouTube, pre everything, you know, except for if you're filming on tapes and, you know, communicating with the world that way. So I ended up getting a VX. Like I had a camera, like a little camera, and I started out, but I ended up like actually stealing a VX from the high school I went to. And years later, the English teacher / newspaper / yearbook teacher, he knew I took it, but he also like, we had like this bond and he knew like what I was trying to do. He never said anything. I found out way later, but I got the VX and started filming the boys and made a DVD called Coming Through. And didn't really know what to do from there. And I just sent a copy to Dan's Comp and they bought like, I don't know what it was, like 100 copies or something that like it tripped my mom out. Cause like I got a check in the mail and I'm not even 18, you know? And she's like, oh wow, you're like really doing this. So like my Coming Through sold in Dan's. And then from there, you know, people saw it and kind of realized like I could ride and film at the same time. And so.
And who had parts in that?
Dude, it was.
It's not. I'm looking online. It's not online.
No,
is it? Yeah.
You could probably talk to that dude at Hard Copy BMX. He would.
He'd be the one.
But shout out to him for doing all that shit with DVD. That's really cool. But it was me, Alex Vasquez, Russell Wadlin, James Thomas, Dylan Morris, bunch of local dudes.
Okay.
But the standout would be our little Aaron. He had a good one. We called him Crack back then. But Russell Wadlin had the ender part, or no, maybe it was Alex or Russ.
Okay.
They had the two fucking super badass parts.
Yeah.
And it was super fun doing that with them back in the day. So
like
Tulsa got me here.
Tulsa, is it like, are you in a good neighborhood? You know, like, I feel like I can envision, you know, 14-year-old Miles, like, or whatever, however old you were with that bike. And you're just like,
no, yeah, it's Tulsa's kind of like Long Beach in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like the houses are not like Long Beach. Like everyone has a yard, there's space, but you know, you can be in the nice neighborhood and then like turn into an apartment complex and the game changes.
A little rough.
Know? So it's patchy like that, you know? But there's nice parts of Tulsa, but pretty much for the most of it, it could be dicey at any moment. You know, homeless people walk around I feel like they walk around nice areas on purpose. It's just anywhere I go, like you still see life happening. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's pretty normal on that like set, I guess. But
when did the props bio come into play? That's where I was my first eyes on Miles. We're all just like, who the fuck is this guy? Well, to me, you came out of nowhere. I didn't see any footage of you before that.
That question, it kind of lets me paint the story from Tulsa to there. So
that was game changing, by the way. That props bio.
Yeah, thanks.
I'll let it play in the background.
I mean, that whole thing for me, like the
watched
phone
that
call I got
so
and everything. It was that was an intense ride. Like I went to Ratty Fest in 2007 or something and rode with Jeff K at Ratty Fest, and he got me on Mankind.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd also met Tony Maloof on a UGP trip to Tulsa a few months before that, and he's like, "This is Stu Johnson from Props. Is this Miles?" And I'm like, go outside. I'm like, "Yo, what's up?" And he's like, "Do you want a bio? I just saw you grind over the swing set. Kaczynski's vouching for you. You want to get in a van next week and finish it with me?" And I was like, yes, please. And he's like, "Okay, let me get you a ticket to DC, and it's going to be you, Burns, and Kaczynski in a van with me." And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Little old me and like Kaczynski and Burns. And he's like, well, you guys ride kind of the same, like bigger.
And those guys are
setups.
in their prime at that time.
Yeah.
Prime.
Yeah. Like, fucking Kaczynski's always been a hog, but
but dude, that era is like,
I felt like he was like opening doors with his forehead when we're going into places, you know, he was just like where can I get it? You know? And it was very inspiring. Like him and Sean, my first time in a van ever with like a camera that wasn't mine, seeing how they would look at stuff and, you know, whether they would, you know, take the gamble or not. And then like kind of showing me those ropes. Cause like I'd get out of the van and I'd film like 5 things. And it was like little lines and stuff with Stu. And, you know, I see them looking around and they're like, you can do that or you can like wait. And then then I started kind of realizing when to pull the trigger. And then we found a bunch of cool stuff on that trip. And we finished it in that trip.
And did you you mesh with them all off the bike too? Like,
oh, dude, yeah. Me and Burns and Kaczynski. I mean, when I grinded over the swing set, Cosman was there. And it's actually in that ride that it's in. It's called a Swan Song. So like Kaczynski and me and Maloof and Drew were all like, there was like this inside joke about people when they drop their elbows down and they're like swanning out, you know? And so like I'd already become friends with Kaczynski before. And then me and Sean hit it off really well just on like being weird. And, you know, if you know anything about Sean Burns or me outside of this podcast, we can be pretty strange. So, yeah, we hit it off pretty well. Different languages and shit.
Yeah. The language stuff, I assume we'll get to at a point. That's crazy. So how old are you at that point?
I was 18 for most of it. And then,
so you're out of high school and stuff, obviously.
I graduated early to ride.
Okay.
That was a weird story too. But whenever at the end, Stu was like, oh yeah, I gotta have you like introduce yourself. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm Miles Rogoish, I'm 19, whatever. But it was like a month after my birthday when he filmed that, and we were already done filming.
Okay.
So mainly 18.
All right.
19 when it came out.
So the Prost bio was after, but you said you didn't drop. I mean, you didn't drop. You graduated early to pursue bike riding.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was the reasoning? You're just done at that point, or?
No, I just, I've always been like good at kind of maneuvering myself through life, if that makes sense. But, like just even in treatment, like, you know, when I'm leaving, they were like, dude, you did great. Like you were a leader in here. And like, I was the first person that they've ever let like cook for the other people there because like they trusted me, but I was just like, I want to make breakfast for everyone. Normally they wouldn't let people have knives and stuff, but I just like, I carry myself in a way where I respect the people in charge and respect what I'm trying to get through it. So same thing in school, it just wasn't for me. And I was living on my own since I was 16, had my own house and or at least rental property. And just wanted to take it to that next level. And it was 2007. There's a huge ice storm in Tulsa that it was so fucked up for Tulsa. Like all the trees froze and then the branches broke. And like 90% of the city or something didn't have electricity for weeks. And so, you know, they fixed the nicer area first and then get to this and this. And like we were freezing.
Weeks,
literally weeks. And this is what's crazy about it is Ratty Fest was coming up and I've got no power. My parents don't have power. And fucking Alex Vasquez, crazy motherfucker. Right when all this happened, he went and bought chainsaws. And like smart dude, because they all ran out. Like all the stores ran out of chainsaws and the ice with like coming in and everything, no one could get them. But he like bought all these chainsaws and he was like making $5,000 a house, cutting these trees off of these people's houses and stacking them for the garbage to come in. So he was door to door and getting fucking paid every time. And so he heard I wanted to go and I needed money for a bus ticket. And he was like, all right, well, if you can, you know,
grab one of my 30 chainsaws.
Well, yeah, totally. But he was like, if you can be here tomorrow at 6 a.m. And put in, you know, 2 good days of work, you should have enough. And I'm like, fuck yeah. Okay. And so I get all bundled up and I show up at 6 and I call him and he meets me at the curb and I'm opening my door and he slams it shut. I'm like, what are you doing? Are we working at this house? He's like, I'm working at this house. I was like, oh, I'm confused. And he just gives me $500 and he's like, get the bus ticket, go kill it. I got this.
Yeah.
And I'm like, are you, dude, no, come on. He goes, dude, just go. I'm serious. I got this.
What did you?
And fucking, that was Vasquez.
So cool.
Yeah.
And then, so I went to Ratty and fucking didn't win the contest, but did some shit good enough that Jeff was like, yo, dude, you're the shit. Like, let's do this. So right then and there he called and then he was like, yeah, you're on Mankind. I'm getting a box 10 out for you. And I was like, this is awesome. So I was like, Alex, I went, I got sponsored. Like you did it. Like, you paved the road for that real quick.
And it seemed like that all started like fast. It was like Miles Rogoish, Props Bio. Was that Ratty Fest after the Props Bio?
No,
it was right before.
No, it was before.
Yeah,
because I was on Mankind and all that stuff.
Okay.
So yeah, it was like boom, boom, boom right there.
Yeah.
Though. It was all really fast from right there.
Yeah, because for me, it was like Props Bio. Then you were just like in the scene, like doing everything. It seemed like.
It felt that way for me too. It was super stoked on Stu and Props because like, especially back then, it was like a staple moment. You know, the bio or the interview, like that was the two like heavy spots in Props. Like the contests and shit were fun, but it was like, who's got the bio, who's got the interview?
The interview was for like the big pro, and the bio was usually for someone like coming up.
And who was I can never remember his name. The guy I was issue 70.
Is this you?
Issue 69. Yeah, that's the Mankind starter pack.
Yeah.
Right there.
Who's filming?
Tony.
Oh.
And this is when we were turning our VXs into 16:9.
Yeah.
to like on the actual camera to make it. We thought it looked HD. Like we should have never done that for that little era that we did.
Because Tony was always filming too, huh?
Yeah,
you guys
we were like
clicked
together for like years.
So you said you film coming through and you got that VX, but like, did you just take right to filming? Like this is what we need to do, or what were you watching? Who was your inspo?
In middle school, so my buddy had he got a VX. He was on the richer side of things. And so in middle school, we were kind of doing like the jackass skateboarding dumb shit a little bit. And so like I started to learn how to edit and stuff like in middle school, like playing around doing that shit. And so then when BMX got serious, I was like, oh, this is how you do it, you know? And I got to shout, Randy Rush is actually, there's a thing called Skate Church, and he was the skate filmer. And like I went to Skate Church to kind of like check it out, and I still skated a little bit. And he was filming, and he showed me like how to use the fisheye.
Mm-hmm.
And then he was like the main dude in Tulsa making the skate DVDs. So then he helped me like go from Final Cut to hard copy. And so I had an influence dude there, but he was influenced by, you know, all the Baker stuff, like because we are on like the ratty side of things. I won't doubt that we are influenced by that side of the world. But yeah, we just that and Walter Perringer at the time.
Yeah.
Joe Simon, Stu. You know, we just looked up to what everybody was doing, and we just put our spin on it, I guess. You know.
Cool. And then like Maloof he grew up in burbs of Chicago and stuff, right?
Yeah, he was. Joe Battaglia lived in Palatine.
Okay.
And then I can't ever remember where Maloof lived right now, but it was close to that. But it was like 40 minutes city.
Okay. And then, so how far is that from Tulsa? Excuse my.
Oh, 9 hours.
Oh, okay. So it's a distance. All right. It's a distance. All right. Cool. And then, so how long did you end up riding for Mankind?
Not that long. I mean, it was fun. It was a few, like a year or so.
At that point, they were like, if you're on Mankind, it seemed pretty sick. Like they were treating the dudes well, and there was trips going on.
Yeah. They just like they got Christian.
Ronnie. It was like a random team.
Yeah.
But like you guys did. I remember going on a little trip with you guys, or like just following you around.
It wasn't with me.
Maybe it was just like Ronnie and Christian, and then it was like an Ohio.
It was after Detour, right?
Yeah. You didn't go on that one?
No.
It was random. It wasn't a real trip, but it was just like.
He smiled like he had something involved, though.
No, yeah. But it was after Detour, right?
Yeah. Like a Cleveland Detour.
How do you know that?
Because it's a very, just like the prop scene, it's a very monumental moment in my career to me. Mankind trip 1.
Yeah.
We're going on a street trip. Catfish is our team manager.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, this is fucking awesome. I'm going on my second journey, you know, like this shit is moving. And we fly to Detour in Baltimore. And that's where the team meets up. Catfish is announcing. So it's, hey guys, have fucking fun at Detour. Like, I'm not riding Detour. And he's like, have fucking fun. Here's your fucking rider wristbands. Do whatever. We're going to leave Monday. And it's like, okay, sick. And so first thing I do is walk over to the dirt practice. And I meet Augie Simoncini, and he's drinking fucking Cobras. Yeah. And I'd already started drinking, but in Tulsa, you drink whiskey because the beer was 3.2 and cold at the gas station, or it was 6 point. They didn't sell on Sundays. Like growing up being a little ratty kid, it was like, let's like fuck drinking water beer, like river beer. Let's get some whiskey and get to the point, you know? So I'd never had a Cobra, and Augie's like, come here, let me show you what's up. Never met him. And he just takes me under his wing, and we're fucking slamming Cobras, watching dirt practice. And then he tries to get me to go to some strip club. They don't let, like, they're saying they're closed. And he's like, gives the dude $100. He opens the door, empty strip club, go to the next door, gives that dude $100. He shows his pistol, lets us in, and the fucking strip club's going crazy, like in the basement. And Augie's like, yeah, what do you think of this? And so I'm like, this is fucking insane. So anyway, the next day,
this is the most Augie story I've ever heard.
Right. Well, somehow
and young at this time too.
I don't
Baltimore's
remember
not his local
either.
city either.
Baltimore's wild.
It's wild, yeah.
So I don't really remember getting home the next day. Literally sitting out front due tour with alcohol poisoning. Like, can't get up. Like, fucking sick as a dog.
Gosh.
And like security comes up and I'm like, rider band, right? Like, leave me alone. Like, I know I'm sitting in the parking lot, but I can't really stand up right now. So he leaves me alone. And anyway, so that part happens. And then me and Catfish are going to eat pizza. And remember, he would do the 69 eyes game. So we're outside.
What did that mean? You had to do push-ups or something?
If you weren't holding the block, you had to do a backward somersault.
Okay. No matter
where you were. Yeah, right. So anyway, we're in the line for California Pizza Kitchen, and he hits me with it, and I'm like, there's so many people in line, like, not even from due tour. And I'm like, all right. And it's like this outdoor mall thing. So I go to the grass, and I do a backward somersault, and I kind of felt like my elbow had hit like a rock or something, and nothing I even cared about, and went on with the rest of the day. Anyway, I wake up in my hotel room. Is this the one with the scar?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wake up in my hotel room and my arm is like this big. Like
Dude,
swollen.
I remember this now. What a brain memory you just pulled out.
And so I'm like, I don't know what's going on. So they take me to the ER, and, you know, no offense to Baltimore, but I still went to the worst hospital, but I'm also in Baltimore. So like, it's not really where you want to get treated in this sense. And so my doctor, he's from some other country. He's a student. I can't really understand him, but anyway, he thinks I have staph. And so I'm hooked up, and they come, all the riders come to the room, and they're like, we're sorry, dude, we got to go on this trip. And I'm like, okay, bye. Like, you're leaving me in Baltimore. I know you got to do the trip, but I don't get to go, and I'm not getting any better. Well, 3 days go by, and Catfish, I have him on the phone, and he's like, dude, it sounds like you want to leave. I was like, dude, I want to leave right now. I'm not getting better. They're just pumping me full of saline. I feel like I'm dying. And he was just like, dude, do what's in your heart. And so I called my fucking mom, and I was like, I'm going to go to the airport and just buy a ticket home. Like, straight, just walk in and buy a ticket. And she's like, no. Just, I'll get you a ticket. Just be safe, like, getting out of there. And so I literally unplug everything, and they're trying to stop me. And I get on the plane, and I land home at like whatever o'clock. And she had already called I've had like a few surgeries by now before all like 17 that I've had in my career. So she calls my upper body orthopedic, like, who does surgery on my hands or elbows or shoulders. And so right when I get off the plane, I go straight to the hospital. He puts a needle, the turkey baster needle, in and pulls it out like an inch. And I'm in surgery in 12 minutes because my bursa sac had popped and it was eating all my muscles, and it was infected. They had to like scrape my muscles and bone from all this sac fluid. And he was like, 24 more hours, we're going to lose my arm. 24 more hours later, I would have lost my arm and never been able to ride bikes.
Fucking hell.
From a hey, Catfish, motherfucker. Like, but yeah.
Wow, dude. That's insane.
It was.
So that's why you didn't go on.
Yeah, your little smile. I was like, there is something there. That's so funny.
Yeah. Was wild in general. It was like all of us kids like doing this thing for the first time, you know, and everyone, there was so much shit going on. Now I remember that. Like, Miles was going on the trip. His arm was like ballooned up.
Trained to travel in cities like that.
And all of a sudden we get to do all
Catfish
this.
And I turned a corner, and it was literally like a movie, all red shirts, all blue shirts in an alley. And then it looks like a cartoon, like Dust, like they're like 20 on 20 fighting.
Yeah.
And he's like, isn't that fucking sick? I'm like, yeah, but should we go? And he goes, yeah, we should probably go now. And he's like, he saw someone with a gun. He was like, now we go. And he probably could tell you that part of the story better. But I was like, what's going on? He's like, that's a gang fight in the alley we were going to take. And I'm like, so do we take it? He's like, No. As soon as he saw the gun, he's like, let's go this way now.
How was
like, okay.
How was Catfish the Mankind TM? I figured it was like DK TM or something.
But I remember him on the trip and I was like, why was Catfish?
Mankind in the US was going to start going through system.
Oh, okay.
All right.
And he was system guy, right?
Yeah, he was system guy. Okay, that makes sense.
And that trip was super random. I don't even think there was a filmer either. Like, I don't know what. Oh, maybe you were supposed to be film and ride.
I don't know.
I don't know who was filming.
I mean, that wasn't discussed, but I mean, I had my camera.
It's funny that
Catfish was like, we're just on a road trip, boys.
I think that might have been just like, here's a fucking test shot of what you guys are just gonna do in a van. I don't know.
It seemed like, yeah.
It's funny that you and Christian were on the same team, and it's like,
and
maybe Christian was gonna film, because that's the first time we had met, and like, Christian's got his competitive side, which I think is beautiful. But when we met, we both filmed, and we both were on Mankind, and we had just met. Maybe so I don't know who was gonna do what, but I think maybe he probably set that up, because I don't remember being told I was gonna do anything.
Yeah.
Huh.
Anyways, great backstory. On that.
I'm going to move this camera just a little bit back.
Oh yeah, my bad.
I filmed with him.
That's so gnarly. So if you wouldn't have trusted your gut, you would have just sat there and lost your arm.
Yeah, man.
They would have just let you to. They wanted you to stay there.
Yeah, and like, when people say it sounds cliche, or whatever, I'll stop having a conversation with someone to like overhear someone say that something's cliche, because cliche fucking works. So like, to follow your gut,
cliche is
in a moment where you're hooked up to beeping shit and you're getting worse, and they're like, no, you're fine, it's gonna eventually fix itself. I'm like, no, it's not. I do not feel good. You're not helping me. And I don't like taking drugs in the sense of like opiates and
painkiller stuff and all
stuff
that.
With my buddies overdosing and people in my family having problems with all of that. Like, all my surgeries, I've done no pain meds after the initial anesthesia.
Yeah.
So I wasn't going to take Valium or anything else that they wanted to give me to like make me feel better.
Ooh, then you would have just been like,
because then I wouldn't have fucking known.
Yeah.
So not doing that, I was feeling myself physically getting ill. And I would have lost my fucking arm.
Crazy.
Good man. To get the hell out.
You did eventually go on a mankind trip, I hope, right?
Or
no? Was it so?
Yeah. Me and Jeff went to LA one time, and actually, once we started talking about doing this, I'm kind of bummed on like a lot of the videos that I've done for people or myself like aren't online anymore.
Yeah.
It's weird. Like, and so I started going through those drives I have.
Yep.
But like when Banquet left, if they didn't also put it on YouTube, all the Tuesdays were gone. And even like Vital,
sick videos.
Like Connor Loads videos and Chad videos on straight Vital. Just if it wasn't saved somewhere else,
Bill has like an epic video with you, and we tried looking it up. We're like, it's gone.
It's fucking gone.
It's on here though.
Video part. Is it on here?
Well,
which one?
Oh, you're talking about the Banquet. It was on
one.
Banquet. Oh no, I don't know about that.
Yeah,
one.
that's like where all the stuff disappeared was Banquet.
Yeah. I mean,
so you did send so you can see all this stuff. You sent me the drive, so I got them all in here.
Well,
so there's so many.
About is it's me and Klugowitz in LA for 2 days. And Pavia shot 2 photos I got in BMX Plus and 2 photos of Klugowitz. But in 2 days we made a whole edit. And my banger, the end trick in the videos, the feeble at Hollywood High out that Shitty got the cover.
Oh yeah,
with Z. I feebled it then. With little pegs and no ring. I just did a hard right U-turn or like hard right turn and feebled it out past the stairs, and I can't find that video anywhere anymore. But and Tony filmed that. So other than that, and that wasn't a Mankind trip. That was like Jeff got the funds for me and Tony and him to go to LA and film for a few days.
There's so much.
Still a trip, I guess, but not like a team trip. You know what I mean?
I mean, just for an example, you have VX games, like there's so many random things in here. It's so sick. So I don't know.
It'd be cool to still be able to do that shit.
Dude, you being a part of BMX was just so great.
Little Tam going in.
Yeah, there's so much just stuff in here.
You put out content all the time, but it was sick content. It wasn't just like I have to get it done.
So this was the original Stranger like teaser that it got lost too.
For Mankind, you go to like a different company though, right? What do you go to? Subrosa. No, before Subrosa.
You're missing the Mongoose moment.
Mongoose. That's what it is. Yeah.
I got a funny story for that too.
So this is we'll finish off this video.
This is a teaser for the Stranger video.
Oh, Stranger was not the intro. Sick in this era when you guys all got in a van and just did your thing.
The VX, like when the team was like this.
Yes.
So the VX mixtape first. The 19-minute mixtape, and then we went to the HD moment. But yeah, still same vibe, still same crew.
We'll talk about Stranger.
Yeah, we'll get there.
And I love filming every single one of these dudes. Like everyone had their different ways of filming. With Augie, you were always stoked on what he did, but you're also nervous because he goes at it like Kaczynski. You know? It's just full bore. That's all you're getting. Eric's always unique. Gabe pulls shit out of his ass. And then
I don't think there was a team ever with so many personalities too. Like everyone's so unique and different and has like real authentic personalities.
And I love filming with Caleb too. Like filming with Caleb is like filming with Sean trick-wise. You know, he's got a bag in his he's got a
young phenom status. Yeah,
they go nose bar back. Like he has trick. Like he can hit all sides of the bike.
Yeah.
So it was always fun filming Caleb too.
All right, so we'll get in all the Stranger stuff because that's a whole a whole window itself. But so the Mongoose phase, short lived or?
Well, the funny part at first is getting into. I mean, goddamn, actually, now I think about it, it's all kind of weird. And a lot of people haven't heard some of this, but so I'm on Mankind, and it's I'd say going good. I mean, for a kid getting free parts, and I was on Flow.
Yeah.
And Jeff was on Pro, and this is at that time where it was a brand new company, and I don't want to speak for Jeff, but it was almost like if anyone was getting paid, it was him, and if he was, it wouldn't be worth talking about. You know what I mean? Yeah. It was like it was starting, so I was stoked to be a part of it, and then I even remember I got one of my old female friends always makes fun of me for this. The day I got my Mankind box, I was like on the balcony of my apartment, and I was listening to that song, My Life Be Like, Ooh. It was on the radio, and I just took the frame out on the balcony, and I just held it up and was shaking my head, and she was just looking at me from the back with her other friend and my homie, and I came in, and they were just laughing so hard, and I was like, what? They're like, you're a dork. Like, that was My Life Be Like, ooh, holding the fucking frame to the sun, like, just being a
But it was real, though.
Dude, it was
almost a scene from like Lion King or something like that.
It was like, this is a free fucking bike right now,
No, you felt like you just stepped up a level.
It's like purple forks, purple bars. I don't give a fuck. Wouldn't have ordered them, but I'll ride them. Like no big deal.
Fuck it.
But yeah, so the Mankind thing with Jeff, LA trip. I put out a couple other edits with Tony because Tony, we were filming each other back to back the whole time. And then Tony's living in Tulsa with Drew and me. And
did you see the Drew York up there? The OG?
We got a DY
up high.
Oh hell yeah!
1,000 beans.
Even better. That'll get better with age.
I love that.
It'll be more expensive. He's becoming such an amazing artist.
Yeah,
he already is, but he's starting to be recognized as a true artist. He's amazing.
Good to see. But
yeah, so I get this call, and it's Cosman, and he's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "We just got done riding," and he's like, "Okay, well, I want to talk to you about something. It's kind of weird though," and I'm like, "What do you mean?" And he goes, "Okay, I'll just put it this way. There's a new company looking at you, and I'm going to tell you how much money to ask for." And I'm just like, "Wait, what?" And he goes, "All right, I'll start over. I went to Pacific Cycle or whatever the mother brand is, and he said he walked into a fucking conference room with like 14 people and a projector, and like, he's the photo guy. And they're like, no offense to these riders, but like they're getting rid of Tabron. They're getting rid of
McCann. Yeah.
So, and like Justin's like, I'm the photographer, I'm listening in. So they're getting rid of these riders, and rumor of them making 8 mil or 80 mil or what, these crazy numbers, you know what I mean? That people hear about, but they're getting rid of them, and they want a street team. And they go, "We want someone like this," and they play my props bio. And Cosman's like, okay. He's like, do you like that? Or like, do you like that? And they're like, no, the kid's awesome. He's like, well, I can get him. And so they're like, oh, really? We'll try to get him at da-da-da-da-da. And so he calls me. He's like, don't take anything less than $500 a month and full coverage insurance and $5,000 travel budget. It'll be split up in, $2,500 per 6 months. And I'm like, okay. So they called me with a little less. And I just straight up, like, I didn't know how to wheel and deal yet. And I was like, I'll take $500. I just listed the max to the exact. And like, he was like, okay, well, I just won't call you back. Those numbers are fine, dude. And so like they sent me a contract, but it was funny. I didn't like try to act like I didn't know or anything. And I didn't tell him Cosmic Cold. So anyway, that was the start of the Mongoose thing. And the Mongoose thing was cool. With anything I get involved with, it's a glass half full. Yeah. I was down to make it happen, and then we got JJ. Oh yeah. And I know that JJ didn't like it as much, or not maybe as much, but
not the coolest sponsor for like a core street dude.
And he's best friends with Garrett at the time and sees all that shit on the East Coast, Little Devil, fucking and I'm like, dude, I'm from Oklahoma. I'll take a bike, let's do this.
You're like, I'm coming from the purple mankind.
Yeah.
So we're just moving forward.
I'm looking at a check. I'm like, let's do this, So it was fun. Me and JJ did a video, and then things started to get a little funky. We went on Mega Tour, and this is when I'm kind of being a little weird too. Like, I won't lie. I was like needing an ounce of weed and a handle of whiskey before I'd like get the job started. I was like, let's make sure we have all our things in place so we can like attack it. Let's attack this thing.
We need our supplies. These are the number 1 and 2.
Well, I mean, dude, head cleaning tape, like there was other things on the list that were real, but like
those are on the list.
These
the real
sometimes
list.
Don't get looked at as much as I'm like, hey, but those really got to be here.
I'm not kidding.
But so
head cleaning tape, weed, and whiskey. Yeah.
Okay, you pretty much got it. Yeah, maybe some paper towels or some shit.
There's a lot of them. I mean, a lot of Miles's style people on BMX trips where like, you need that.
Yeah. No, it is.
You need the weed, like that's why Market didn't go to Arizona. We always went to NorCal for so long because you couldn't get the weed out there.
Fuck the Yuma checkpoint, right?
Yeah.
So you're on Megatour. And Megatour, it's a Mongoose team?
Yeah.
Okay, so who all's on there? You and JJ, obviously.
I got to bring Justin Coble from Tulsa. No, JJ didn't go. I think JJ had already quit.
Oh, what is this?
He didn't stick around too long, and I don't blame him.
I don't even remember JJ being on Mongoose.
It wasn't the right fit for him, and then I soon come to find out it's not the right fit for me either.
Okay.
But Paul,
shorter Shredder Paul, dude, he was so Europe. Good. Yeah.
I forget his last name.
Yeah, but, super cool dude.
Yeah, double bar quick.
Yeah.
Like he was a ripper.
He was sick. Yeah.
Excuse me.
Paul Ryan.
Paul Ryan. Super funny dude. Super funny
Greg
dude.
Illingworth.
Greg Illingworth.
Fucking bad motherfucker.
Yep.
God, that dude's fucking sick.
He is sick.
And he was so sick back then to meet him. He's very, very good energy. And then me, Justin Coble. I don't remember if
who's a TM.
Else. Pretty banger team just at that.
Scott or he had red hair.
Red hair. Yeah, I do.
I hate that I'm forgetting. Dude, it's anyone watching this, I cut out from BMX 10 years ago, and I love rethinking this, but there's going to be some names and shit.
It's okay.
But yeah, anyway, because whatever his name was is the weird part is like he picks me up from the airport, and I'm like, I get in the van, and I'm like, where is everybody? The van's empty. He's like, oh, well, I left them at the hotel. I wanted to talk to you about some things first. I'm like, you left the crew at the hotel? Like, we're on fucking Megatour. Why are you picking me up by myself? I want to see the team when they're all here before me. I'm like, let's high five. Let's hug. Let's get this thing going. It's fucking Megatour. Like, somebody shouldn't be filming me getting picked up.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm like, why is it just you, bro? This is fucking weird, And he's like, well,
this is part of the script, bro.
Yeah, like I know Stuart props. What is going on here? This is fucked up.
This is not how it works. I've seen Megatour.
Yeah. And so he starts talking to me about like some shit that the company wants. And I'm fucking confused. And like, I've gotten smarter already, but what he's wanting me to be, there was a difference in the bike I was riding, like the BMX program. And then there's like I'll just call it A and B. And it was something like that lane. Yeah. And he was like, you're on the B program. Everyone is. But the A program is where we want to put a bike in Walmart and like a helmet in Walmart that like we want you to endorse it. And I'm like, okay, I mean, that sounds like a check, and also like kind of lame because I'm trying to like,
the bike is not
trying to
be
bring
good.
Mongoose to the streets, but at the same time, like it's been in Walmart for X amount of years, and it's a sellout move, So I'm like, I'm willing to hear what you have to say, but it could have been. It wasn't going to be as much money as it should have been. Like it would, like where I think having a bike in Walmart should be like a couple $100,000 or like $1 million. So like,
I mean, there's always
cut out to you at Walmart with a bike and all this other, you know what I mean? Yeah. Cause the SKU numbers, like you would think to be in every Walmart, and you get a percentage. So it should be a number, but it was lower. But they wanted to cover my face tattoo and like, I shouldn't get any more tattoos. And they were going to like have me in long sleeves and some photos, and like, he was being honest about how much they wanted to tone down. So was this like roughness. A whole, like you're going to do your normal Miles thing, but then you're going to have to be like this other guy? No, it was like the other guy would kind of be the guy, but I also get the benefit of selling the completes and the helmets in Walmart to make a check. Okay. So I was like, but you're slowing me down completely, kind of. Uh-huh. And he's like, well, you can ride short, so you can do your street videos, but magazine ads and like, the stuff we're going to push harder. Like maybe wear a long sleeve shirt. I'm like, whoa, dude, like a long sleeve shirt just because I'm doing an ad. Yeah. It's going to be somewhere. Like I'm not putting on clothes like to cover myself. An ad is one thing, like. Well,
they sponsored you.
Right. And they want this guy, they pointed at the screen, but now you want the kid to fucking paint his arms tan. Yeah. And cover up my shit, So I wasn't feeling it. And is that what they wanted you to do on Mega Tour too? Well, no, but it was just a really bad start to the trip. Yeah. Like this whole time I'm like riding and I'm like, should my face, is this not my face? Like I'm like, am I me? Yeah. Do I get to be me right now? I don't know what's going on here. But of course I was like, you know what? Fuck that. And we shredded Megatour and it was fun. And I wilded out because, he was trying to be nice and he was the messenger, but the message would have never came off well. Yeah. Yeah. And so pretty much by the end of the trip,
I'm sure part of you, you're like, all right, this is how I am. I'm going to kind of show you the real, like, I'm not even going to hold back at all. Yeah. Anymore. You're
driving the van this time. This isn't, we're not on the phone. Yeah. You're in the car. Let's do this, you know? And we ripped, but, wasn't feeling it. And, around
that poor dude.
And then the transfers of teams get funnier and funnier, dude. Because then Subrosa is next. Yeah. And
Subrosa seems like your style at the time.
Dude, it fucking it felt so cool. And it was cool. But Ryan calls me and he's straightforward. Just like, man, let's talk about this. I want you to film. I want you to ride. I want you to film. I want it to be like your thing, And I'm like, oh, so freedom versus this other conversation I've had to where it would have who I would have to be in order to grow. And he's like, I'll pay you what Mongoose is paying you. You won't have a travel budget, but we do trips. That's when they had the Sparky's van as well. And I seen them doing trips. And he was like, and I'll pay you an extra amount to be our filmer and editor. So it's like my monthly now is like better than Mongoose. I get to be myself. Yeah. I'm in charge of the branding of the videos, and fucking Subrosa was cool as fuck, especially compared to Mongoose. Like I'm like, JJ, good job. I'm going over here. Like we both left. Like that whole program kind of died out for a while to me after that. But then Subrosa was so rad. But I did one last little dirty move. I was like, well, if you're serious, I'm ready to do this. And he was like, okay, well, why don't you come down to Florida? So he buys me a flight to Florida, gives me a bike. Like we build my bike, and like I'm at Sparky's, and like haven't signed a contract, just built a bike. Like someone's building, I'm picking parts. They're putting together me a bike. He's showing me around all the cool shit. And it just kind of comes down to like time to do this. And I'm like, okay, well, I don't know if I'd already bought the ticket or not, but I had my travel agent was flying me to Barcelona, and that was with Kaczynski, Rooftop, and Garrett Hoogerhide.
Mm-hmm.
And we all had an apartment in Barcelona, and Catfish was gonna be there for a minute, I think maybe, but or no, he was there again. Foggy, especially if Catfish is around, it's foggier because we're having, you know, like. But anyway, I think I already had the trip planned, but I signed the contract, and I took the Subrosa on the trip that Mongoose had paid for me to go to Barcelona.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
And I called him and I quit. And I called him, I think I called him from Barcelona. And the dude was like, I was like, dude, it was still my budget. It was still, I called because I had a travel agent, like not them. I could go somewhere just by calling an agent.
Yeah.
And I didn't even have to talk to my TM. Like it was so much different than any other of the teams, you know, that are core and a family. You know, it was like, I can go somewhere
so
without
much
even
worse than you screwed them over by giving you $500 a month.
No shit.
You know what I mean?
So when you bitched about that, I was like, I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
But
you need to get a little something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But 4 days into that trip, tore my ACL.
Shit.
On that little up rail. Up
oh, yeah, the up flat, the Tom White-ish. Yeah.
And it was an Osiris, another thing that's gone off the internet, but it was my Osiris welcome to the pro team video. It was like grind over, and I almost hit my face on a cactus and flip up, and I'm like, woo! And then I do it, and then it's that little rail. And it's like up, over hard 180, up something else, and then I go for up 180, look back, and I stop halfway, and I put my leg down, and it just folds on camera. No. And they're like, welcome to the pro team. Get well soon, you know? And
tip to anybody out there, the internet is not forever. That's one thing we've learned time and time again. If you have some shit on the internet, fucking download it, screen record it, save it. So your grandkids are going to want to see it one fucking day, or you're going to want to show it to them. They're not going to want to see it.
Email it to yourself.
Yeah.
Put it on a drive, put it somewhere.
Yeah. So
because YouTube, I mean, look at Vimeo.
It's
a whole different fucking company now. You know, like if YouTube did the same thing and you don't have that shit tangibly.
Imagine anything with uncleared music. They're like, all right, if we can't monetize it, we're deleting it. Imagine
I mean, that's literally what happened to Vimeo and a bunch of YouTube. I mean, when YouTube silences it, it almost feels just as bad.
Yeah.
You know, like when you're watching it in mute, it's not that
was
fun.
It Deadline or something that's there in silence or whatever, like for a long time at least.
There's a lot of videos like that.
Yeah.
It is nuts. YouTube is just the big dog. There's nothing really else.
Save your shit. Yeah. So Subrosa kicks off. And so how long were you on Mongoose? Pretty short, like 6 months, a year?
I did 3 full web videos for them and a couple ads. I'd say like a year or almost 2.
I mean, let's talk about that.
I went to Germany with them.
Okay.
Or for the Worlds.
Yeah.
And like me and fucking Tony, we were getting kicked out for filming Alex Kennedy without his helmet. And then like security guards were like, that was a whole fucking episode too. But no, I was on Mongoose for a good chunk.
Okay. All right.
I was on Mongoose during Tattoo.
Yeah.
And so it was at least a year or 2.
A lot of people talk about that one, like Tattoo, as like it being like almost like a Misfit Props or something, right? At the time.
I never heard Misfit Props.
I mean, I'm making that up. Like
we looked up to all that, you know, like it was us getting in a van and making a video out of a tour. So, I mean, that's technically like a shitty Road Fools, you know, I guess. But people do it. You know?
Look at you this time. Oh, that's I'll turn on
this
some
clip
audio.
right here, though. This is me coming out of the store with 2 cartons of cigarettes for the crew. And you can hear them all, and then right here, we're underage. I'm ordering 10 shots from that's actually the driver of the tour. This is the bar he worked at in Tulsa before he left. And so, we were all over the place.
So what was the concept? It was a DVD. It was DVD.
We were going to make a DVD.
Yeah.
And you had to get a tattoo to go on Tattoo. And Tony called Perringer and he wanted to document it for Dig. And he like didn't know if he wanted to go or not. He was like, how are you guys going to be able to do this? Like, you're serious. And the budget we had was like 15 grand. And Walter was like, wait, what? We were like, I was like, dude, we can go on this trip. Like, you're not going to get stuck.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, you can come. It's fun. But it was funded from weed money.
That was from weed money.
Yeah, it was funded from weed money. Me and someone who I now work for and who is a very prominent director in the movie game. We were roommates, and I wanted to do this tour, and we had money in a safe, and like Tony lived in the front house with him and Drew and Justin Coble in this like mansion thing in Tulsa, and I had the garage apartment in the back, like we called it the Moon Tower, but it was like the nucleus of like where I would edit and live, and like kind of fueled the big house and everything. You know, like it was like the office to the big house, and John was just, or shit, I said his name, but it's not.
I can delete it. Do you really want?
He talks about his recovery and everything too. So, but he was like, dude, just go. Like, I'm like, what do you mean just go? And he's like, just take some of our money. Like we would use it for the business, but he was like, just take it and go do it. Go make it. You want to.
So sick.
And so, yeah, we just pulled out like 15 and fucking got people's flights that couldn't, and bought people's tattoos and fucking went on tour.
Where'd you guys go?
Atlanta.
It was Tulsa through Atlanta, and what was that? Not there's that one badass spot in Arkansas. It's not Rogers. Oh,
do you have a clip in it?
Or no, it's Mississippi, Jacksonville or whatever, Mississippi.
Okay,
Mississippi's gnarly.
Why is that?
Just that area. It's like really Confederate flag, but
yeah, I've never been to Mississippi, but
yeah, Mississippi can get a little. It's awesome to ride, and I like people of all types. So just Mississippi just has its own flavor to it.
Yeah,
that's a good way to put it.
You're a go-getter, man.
I mean, that's what I was.
We're so like early stages of miles, and you're already just doing so much, and just like seeing you in here with your confidence, and you're making this road trip happen. And I remember just being on the outside San Diego, just watching, like, dude, what are these guys doing? This is sick. You know what I mean? Like, from your crossbow to this, and you know the stuff in the middle before you even get on Subrosa, but just as like a fan, like you're just doing it.
Yeah, like you said you were a little bit of a leader earlier, and it's like you are, but you're also like polarizing. You know, like you like infect people with energy. I always felt like over the years.
He has great energy, and it makes when other people are like that, let's like don't sit in the van. Let's go fucking look at this spot. You know, like someone like that is needed, or people kind of get like,
Yeah.
I mean, it was a compliment when they said that in treatment, but it's leader's a hard word. It's just, I'm just infected with what I want to do and like the passion. Mm-hmm. It's like, if we're doing something, let's fucking do it, you know? And I wouldn't call it leading as much as just like, if no one knows what decision to make, to like, let's keep this train rolling kind of thing. You know, it's like one thing has to happen in order for us to continue life, you know, like, after another. So it's like, if that's get in the van at this time and go, then let's get in the van at that time and go, you know, like just make it happen.
It's a level of confidence too, though. Like, have you always like, do you remember yourself always being confident in whatever you're doing? Yeah.
I mean, like definitely even as like a little kid, you know, like I said, even with the camera thing, like, I trade my fucking peanut butter and jelly for your grilled cheese. Just because I told you this is better. My mom made it. And then walk away and go eat your grilled cheese. You know, like I was always fucking doing something.
Yeah.
I was always trying to pull some strings. That's for sure.
I respect that.
But I feel like
very similar in that same sense. Like,
I feel like video editing is like so much confidence though. Like for me, I feel like video editing is harder because I don't have confidence in it at times, where it's like, if you just like, I made the correct decision, I want this to look like this, and you just know it. I feel like it like makes it easier as somebody who like churned out a whole shitload of videos over the years, especially during this phase, which I feel like we should talk about the web video phase. But like I feel like you wouldn't have been able to do that if you had any self-doubt about what you were doing. You're like, this looks sick, and I don't question it.
Well, I never thought of it that way. I mean, I don't even want to call it a routine, but the routine of editing. I mean, you know, you do anything more, you get better at it. So it became like robotic in a sense, but there was definitely thought into it, and I was confident in it. I mean, I love filming, and you know, it's like, damn, I filmed the shit out of that. You know, like you want to film it good to like show the writer, like I fucking filmed you so fucking good. You know what I mean? Like, and then that's like, look, that's why Garrett has Ennis, and you had Christian, and you know, you want that filmer to be fucking pumped on filming you, and not just because it's you, but because he's creating the image, you know. It's like you as a photographer, it could be somebody buying an ice cream cone or somebody grinding over a swing set. You're looking at everything. You need the rider, but the grass, everything else is a part of what you're making.
Yeah.
So like, it was always fun, right? Or like shooting with people that did the same thing. But yeah, I would definitely say I was super confident in my filming because I wanted to film good.
Yeah.
And same thing with the editing. Like if you put energy into something, good energy into something, it's going to turn out good. You know, you don't really have to overthink it as long as you're putting your all into it.
Yeah.
A good way to say it.
Huh.
It's that, remember that 3-spot stop we filmed together? It was like our only video we filmed together. But dude, I've had so many people over the years tell me that was their favorite video.
Does that exist?
Probably.
Yeah. No, that one's, and dude, that's one of my favorites.
3 sessions.
Ever.
We had so much fun making it. I never thought anyone would ever tell me it's because to me, it was me just riding.
There was,
but you made it look so cool, I guess.
No, dude, you killed it. And the spot's like
3-spot stop.
Yeah.
I think.
Oh, dang. It literally suggested it.
Yeah, no, it's a fucking.
It's old and it's just random, but like we literally filmed it just a few sessions playing around. You're like, I think we got a video, and I'm like, really? Like,
dang, this is uploaded.
Yeah, like 10 times. People are freaking out. Oh my gosh, actually, even more.
What the fuck? Why
people have told me so many times, like that was my favorite video of yours, and I'm like, really?
Crazy.
Because he made me like look like, you know, you gave me an image, and no one had done that yet. I don't think.
Well, and see, like you said, give it an image.
Yeah.
I was trying to say that,
and you're so fun to film with.
This was an era from my filming too, though. Like the Chad one, and like this sound, the music. Like this was when I found like this palette that I like to like create with the footage and the music and like how it would lay out.
Yeah.
And so this was like the start of that little era. Connor Loads with the M83 song.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd gotten to a groove right here and then it was Drew Bazanzin in your backyard.
Yep.
It had this different feel to it. And it was like lively.
And no one was like doing that. You know, kind of like Lewis and
Lewis and Ben. Yeah.
Lewis and Ben. Yeah. Like they just kind of came and changed the game, and now everyone tries to not copy it, but like
but they ushered in and but it's almost kind of funny because it's almost kind of similar to this. It's like dance music ish, club music essentially.
Yeah, using something you wouldn't be afraid of someone to be like, this song fucking sucks.
Shit got too serious.
Well, with the riding,
just jamming
check
around,
shit out. You know, like and always having a good time.
Remember that Claremont mini ramp?
Fuck, that thing was good.
It was sick.
Baby Dennis.
Yeah, no, we were going to keep filming. You're like, oh, we got a video already. And I was like, you know, for real? Normally I film for like a year for stuff or whatever. And he's like, no, we're good. And then when it came out, I was like, that was fucking sick, Miles.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Well, we'll get into the Haro phase too, because you literally did make videos for Haro for a minute.
That's because
you better be careful with the song.
Oh, I'll pull it for the podcast. Yeah.
That the whole Haro thing spawned from getting robbed.
Yeah.
At what is the Heights?
Memorial.
Yeah. It's in Barrio, or Barrio Heights or whatever.
Yeah.
But so that day I had Little Sean, Chad Curley, Tammy. I mean, those are the three mainly that I remember because of how shit went down. But yeah, I had my camera and I was like waiting for Sean. Like Sean was warming up and he's about to come over to where I was and we were going to film this thing. And I'm just like looking around and like, you know, I'm like, okay, that dude's not a skater. Got a rag around his hand. Keeps looking at me. This dude over in the car. Like I just started seeing it form around me that like, this is not, I don't feel good.
Yeah.
Gut feeling thing. And so I'm like, I run over to Sean and I'm like fake showing him footage. And I'm like, dude, we're about to get robbed. Like, we got to get out of here. We need to get Chad and Tammy and we got to go. And like, I'm like, he's like, what? No. And I'm like, dude, we're about to get fucking robbed. And right there, dude fucking hinks up Sean from behind the back with the knife, with the shank. And he's like, drop your bike. And he's like, no. And I go, Sean, drop the fucking bike. And he's like, you know, like this. But he drops the bike. The kid takes the knife off of him, grabs his bike, and then like the other two come up and they take my camera out of my hands and I'm running. And my backpack, they ripped my backpack off. I'm running, they're hopping the fence. I'm hopping the fence and we're like close at the end on the outside of the park. Like I'm like right there by them, but I'm just please let me have the tapes. I'm like, you can have the camera, just let me have the tapes.
Yeah.
Like Sean and Chad both had like a full edit like in the last few days. And I'm just like, just give me the tapes, please. And they don't. So fucking they take off. They ripped the other camera. So I got the bag almost back and they ripped the camera out. And I was like, I just want the tapes. So there's a picture on Instagram, my old one, me and Tammy just holding an empty bag. I was like, we got robbed. And I didn't know what I was going to do, man. Like rent in South Hillcrest was like $2,800 a month. And me and LaShawn weren't able to afford that. But, you know, my girlfriend at the time was helping out with some of that. But like without my cameras, it was like, okay, well, my side of the contribution, I'm about to be fucked. Like, I don't know what's going to happen. And dude, fucking, who was it?
It was Alan. It was probably Alan. Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, I know it's Alan Cook, but Garrett and I were talking about Colin McKay.
Yeah.
And I am dyslexic in a sense. So I was like, fuck, I'm going to say the wrong name.
I think it was Alan at that point.
It was definitely Alan. Yeah. It was definitely Alan. Nice Alan, not Australian. But Alan just like called and he was like, yo man, I heard what happened when you were with Chad. How are you doing? And I was just like, man, I'm fucked. Like I'm doing all right, but thanks for calling. And he's like, well, I mean, that's why I'm calling. And I'm like, what do you mean? Why? That's why you're calling? And he's like, well, we want to help you out with a camera. And I'm like, what do you think about that? Like, you know, do you need an amount or something? And I was like, shit, dude. It's right at this time where VX and HD are kind of flip-flopping with everyone. And I'm like, well, what are you trying to help me out with? Because like, if you're asking me like to buy a $500 VX off eBay or like, and like either way, we get to the point
or an
where he's
HPX
like,
with a whale eye and whatever.
We get to, he was like, I'll get you the camera you want.
Yeah.
And then in turn, you'll do some work. And, you know, when I was like, okay, well, I'm going to shoot for the sky. And so I found the whale eye and the camera. And then it was Christian and Will Stroud both sent me in the, like Will told me about the rails. Yeah. And then I called Christian and he like assured me which ones would work. And so, I mean, dude, and then the rails were like $450 back then.
Yeah.
And the lens and then the camera. And Alan was like, yeah, do that and make us 7 videos. And I'm like doing Tuesdays with Miles. I'm like, 7? 7 videos. You're sure? 7. He's like, just 7 videos. And I'm like, how long? And he's like, well, it's, you know, when you're dealing with our riders. So however that works out. And I'm like, I just ordered an $8,000 fucking camera and you want 7 videos. I'm like, it's game time. You know, like it was awesome. But yeah,
they paid filmers a lot more than that for less videos than that.
Well, you know? it was a win-win, I think, you know.
But, hell yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't have to do that, and you probably you could have said 5. He probably would have been okay, cool. But also like at that point, dude, I was like
thankful.
It was a shining light from an angle up high.
I'm holding an empty camera bag. 3 days later, the box shows up.
Alan
on my
Cook roll
porch.
up in the Angel Mobile, the Angel rig or whatever. Like
Alan's very smart, and he saw that, and he's like, honestly, like that they made more.
And then that was Chad's frame promo video.
Mm-hmm.
Even that probably was mixed in there.
That's VX.
Oh, so this was after
it was when it was the HD stuff. So yeah, Chad's frame video, some Connor shit that was for premium. Yeah, we made some really cool stuff, and
I love that Connor one where you like.
Cool. Yeah, that's awesome. Shout out to Alan Cook, man.
Yeah.
It's a smart thing, but also a nice thing.
Like it's like helmet over him and you had like this cool like direction of him like spinning and stuff. You know the name of that? We should watch that real quick. Cause that's one of my favorite Connor videos too. And I can't remember.
Is that the one that you said was gone?
I was thinking of a Vital one.
When I typed Connor's name in on YouTube recently, I was trying to find that video and I couldn't. So it might be on YouTube.
I'll do upload date and scroll to the bottom. Okay. Sense?
We're going in the weeds here, but
yeah, sorry.
Just to show off, like, what he was making. Like,
well, I mean, it was a whole new era, like that era with you with the 3-spot stop and like that VX vibe. Like when I got that camera, I started
premium 2014.
No,
actually, it might have been because
look at it real quick.
No, that's not my footage.
No, it's like you had him stand there and like, you know.
Yeah, I remember the helmet thing for sure. Oh, there it is.
This one?
Yep. Nope, one down.
Oh.
The bar promo. Yeah. So this is when I started like trying a whole new, like, cause it's HD.
Yeah.
So like to me, it looked too clean. So I had to like get artsy as well. Otherwise, like it just seemed,
Oh yeah.
if it was just somebody standing there with VX, it'd be cool. But with HD, it was like too crisp. It was just like, hey, Connor's smiling. I was like, all right, we got to start getting like artistic and doing some weirder shit.
Yeah, I love this Connor video.
Oh yeah, you were in it
like that. You know what I mean? Like, because it just felt stale. It was so clean. If it was just raw cuts, it just died to me. I was like, I got to give it some life.
Shout out to
that was
Connor.
Crazy.
Yeah, the slowest fucking bar. Well, sorry, I feel like we skipped around a little bit.
Yeah, we're still basically at Subrosa.
So Subrosa. What was the trip that we went on?
We're staying on track.
That was a Subrosa trip.
Yeah, it was Subrosa. Like it was
when we
kind
rode
of
that barn.
Yeah, it was Seamus's barn.
Yeah.
What was that a video?
That was getting footage for GUTI.
That was for GUTI.
But then when things lines starting to get blurred. Looking back, no one cared. But there was moments on the trip like, I guess. But it was like the barn footage. I was like, Ryan, I got to make it Tuesdays.
Yeah.
I'm like, I know we're on a team trip, but like the Tuesday has to happen as well.
This is where it's kind of merging. Yeah. When did the Tuesdays kind of start coming into play? Because that we're at Subrosa right now. And then did the Tuesdays kind of come around right then with Osiris, Subrosa Tuesdays? Because that was an era.
Ballpark?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, Tuesdays with Miles
Cosman, I assume.
Started with, it was on Banquet before Ballpark got involved. Okay. Ballpark was my raise.
Okay. Explain Banquet, because a lot of people, Banquet's not around anymore. What was Banquet back then?
BNQT.com. It was like an EXPN, but when you'd click it, it would have the surf, the moto, the BMX, the skate, the inline. It had the little thing up at the top where, somebody was doing it all. And Cosman's a great businessman. Like, I've never heard of Banquet, but he was making some stuff for them. I taught him a little bit of like how to edit when he first got a video camera. And he repaid me with like, hey, why don't you do a series for this company that I'm working for? And he told me same thing, like what I should ask for. And it worked out. And then when Ballpark came around, that price went up. And I think it probably did have to start after Subrosa. I can't remember, but I don't think I had those. I didn't have those priorities when I was on the bike and I went to Barcelona, or those obligations. You know
because it went from the Tuesdays with Miles thing. You did it for so long,
right?
Like
it was like 3 years.
3 years every week.
It was intense.
150 videos essentially. How many did you miss? Is a good question.
Oh, I didn't miss a Tuesday. No, I can say that.
Dude. Yeah, that's sick.
Unreal.
And dude, that's pre-digital. That's on a tape, on a trip with Subrosa, filming the barn, pulling it up in the hotels, editing that, getting it there by Monday night.
It was real riding.
We're filming for the fucking DVD as well,
Yeah, it wasn't like we're going to go.
Some of them were like quick. All the writing was always good.
Though, it was quick, but it wasn't like, we're going to go like little weird concepts, like, YouTube style. It was like we're going to film some sort of edit. It's funny how many people bitched about it back then. Like, I'm trying to do these little quick skate park edits on a Tuesday and like complaining on the come up where now like it was so much harder to do it with like a mini DV camera. Hell yeah.
But now with like Instagram and YouTube vlogs and everything, like no one's complaining about weekly videos that people make that are just like them walking around and talking. And it's like I'm giving you a good skate park edit at the minimum every Tuesday.
I love the skate park with Miles for 15 years. Like, I would have been hyped.
But there was a tougher crowd back then.
That's the people chirping, but the people watching were stoked.
Right.
That's how it always is.
Right.
When you're doing something cool, you're gonna hear the haters.
Well, it's funny the way it goes because like the idea of a plaza edit that you got, because a lot of them would be like a session with some fucking good dudes doing great bike riding and great filming because you'd put effort in, but like that doesn't exist. It doesn't exist in BMX anymore where people edit something to a song.
We got it into a routine that it was like filming the warm-up session.
Yeah.
Or like, I guess since like, everyone that I was filming were good friends of mine that like they all started to know after a while that like, hey, like we know Miles's videos next week.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like if me and Tammy and LaShawn are going to go out, or, you know, then it's me and Connor and Chad.
It's a win-win like, because the people who are hanging out with
making
you were
their
getting
sponsors
exposure
happy.
like crazy.
So if like we were filming for a part, it'd be like, well, it's, you know, it's Monday. Yeah. Like sometimes it would be Monday and it'd be like, well, we got to go hit a park real quick and I'm going to fucking do this tonight. You know, like, so. And
especially when it's the homies and you kind of know how they ride. So you're not pushing them too hard. Right. It's like, just film your warm-up session. Let's just get it real quick.
Yeah. And the warm-up it's a cool thing for kids to.
It is.
Not knowing it's a warm-up. It's like seeing your favorite rider ride a park. Yeah. Quick 3 minutes, like start your day, have a good week, bye. You know?
It ran 3 years. Sponsored by hot dogs.
Well, and here's this other crazy thing that I found out. So 2 weird things happened with Banquet. I was in Arizona with Tammy, and I think it was when we were going on a Subrosa trip, and for some reason, Tammy was around, and like LaShawn went to jail.
Blunted stuff.
And maybe that was it. Because Kyle Hart, it was Kyle Hart, me, Tammy, and LaShawn. Yeah, and so it was a blunted thing. And LaShawn took the rap for the weed at the checkpoint.
Fucking Arizona again.
The Yuma checkpoint.
Arizona's hard if you smoke weed.
But anyway, so
not anymore.
Me and Tammy walk into a fucking Arby's, and Tuesdays with Miles is on the fucking TV in Arby's.
Whoa.
And I'm like, Tammy's like, dude, that's sick. And I'm like, maybe. I'm like, it could be sick, but like, my check should be higher for me to buy these McChickens with you, my dog. You know,
why is it
like we should be eating better. Like we should be getting our food for free here. It's on their TV.
So why was it in Arby's? Is like Ballpark selling it?
So I called Cosman, and he's like, yeah, well, you know, they're licensing some of their projects out to like places like Arby's or Burger King's. Or
but
they have those TVs that
you're
just, like,
not
roll.
Getting the money for this commercial that's playing over for their entertainment.
And
Arby's.
It was fucking crazy. And so I try to have an argument. It's not really working out. And one time it was like a couple weeks after that, really close after that.
I'm dying at maybe.
No, a couple weeks after that.
I like that though. It's like, it's not that cool.
A couple weeks after that, Cosman, because I would send the video to Cosman. And a couple of weeks after that, Cosman, he gave me his login. He was like, will you just upload it here? And I was like, okay. And I did it. And then I'm seeing the videos and the views.
Mm-hmm.
And all of the videos have over 1 million hits. And I'm like, what? And I call Cosman. I'm like, how is this possible? And he's like, well, you know, you have that ticker on the come up. The little side ad, and it would play Tuesdays with Miles. Remember that? It would automatically play in that little video player.
Yeah.
And so every time you refresh the come up, it's giving it a view.
Yeah.
And so you're not even watching it. It's just people going to the website. And then that, and probably somewhere else they had it. But so their Banquet was selling these Tuesdays with Miles gets 1 million views. You should invest in it. 1 million people aren't really watching it. So then I kind of was like getting a bad taste in my mouth.
I feel like with that though, it's like Banquet is paying the come up probably a fuckload more than you were getting paid to make the video. Right. And it's like it's hard when you're making stuff and a lot of money's floating around. You see what I'm saying?
I'm in Arby's. I'm looking at this list.
I'm
just making the shit and sending it off every week.
Yeah.
And I'm barely eating because we are on the road. We do have to make the video. We have to get to these new parks. You're at the point where
if your camera got stolen and you didn't make the next Tuesdays with Miles, you're like, fuck.
I'm in a bad spot. Yeah.
Like, you know.
But what they're doing with it on the back end, juggling it around, I don't know. But I started to see it and I was like, can I not like get X amount more? And they wouldn't do it. And then soon after Banquet went under, and I did it until it crashed, you know?
Yeah. So you did get a raise when Ballpark came in, because I always remember that Ballpark fucking logo for some reason, you know, and it was like Mike Spinner and core street videos like by Miles.
Yeah, like, it's weird. I like infected a few, like getting on Mongoose in general. Yeah. It's like I don't know how this juxtaposition is working, but it doesn't really match.
But you know what I mean though? It's like
people like you and your energy, and they're like, We'll try them out over here.
We'll try it out.
That's the definition of polarizing is that
try and
there's
make him
14 dudes in a room with a slideshow looking at a photo of you. Is hilarious. Yeah. Like, think of that,
like the cartoon version of it.
Yeah. In the glass window, and like they're all
they're in suits and ties and shit. You know?
It's pretty funny
Let's
to think about.
turn him into our poster boy.
Yeah.
See if we can make this happen.
Let's clean him up.
All right. This Unclicked podcast is brought to you by Source BMX. We're very grateful to have them as a sponsor for the podcast, and couldn't work any more organically.
Yeah. Huge shout out to Source. Been a supporter of RBMX from the beginning, supporter of the podcast this year. They did kick off one of these new programs called Source Rewards. This is a brand new program that they have.
It's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
You get money back for spending money.
Basically, and not even that. So you get points when you join, you get points when you spend money, of course, but you also get points for signing for the mailing list. You get points for your birthday.
Leave a review. Yeah. Easy points all over. Make a purchase. Refer friends. Follow us on TikTok. Follow us on Instagram. Look at all that stuff.
So
genius. The Source guys are geniuses. They make it better and better to buy from them.
Yeah. And then so you can, this is how you spend those points. You can get hats, badges, socks. I got to tell you, those socks are the ones right there. They do somehow work. They are good socks. The Oxygen Thief repair.
I love it. They have everything on here, all the products, and now they have basically like a frequent flyer miles thing.
It is like that.
It's like that, but for buying BMX shit.
Yep. So shout out to Source.
Wow, it's just like a frequent. You get the bronze, silver, gold package. Look at that.
Thank you to Source for all they do. We appreciate you guys, and back to the podcast.
Thank you, Source.
Dude, we're so good at this. Subrosa days. Like I think the one Subrosa trip that I went on that we talked about was like
that's where we were getting at, right?
Yeah, it was like that era. Like it was Ditchburn, Wong, Seamus, you, Sure, we were Hart. We were in this bus.
LaShawn.
Was LaShawn on that one too?
What a squad.
Not on that specific trip,
maybe, but just who the team was, and then we had Greg from Florida, which the Hesh hair, like he was so sick.
Yeah.
You said Ditchburn.
Smee? Who? Smee. That was his last name.
Greg Smee.
Yeah.
I thought you said something else.
Yeah.
Greg Smee.
Ditchburn too. Wow.
Ditchburn,
and Greg D'Amico. And dude, like, everyone on the team was cool as fuck. And then there was the dude that, I'm blanking his name, but he was from London and he went on one of the trips, but then he just started making motorcycles.
I know this person. Why is this?
And he did like the weird foot plants. Like, he was like, his body type was like he rode in Voices, and his bike was like all thin. And,
I
don't know.
I know. God, it's gonna drive me nuts.
Yeah,
it'll come
because I do like him.
Boy,
what boy?
It was something like that. Not Anthony.
Did he have cool hair?
Yeah,
like he did his hair all the time.
Yeah,
he came to my house and stayed, and he was cool as fuck.
Yeah, from Europe,
from London.
Yeah,
straight London, dude.
Dude, his name might have been Boy.
No,
because I can see Sure saying it.
No,
Ricky.
No,
it wasn't. I'm thinking Ricky.
Dude, his name's Boy.
Okay, I'm thinking of somebody else then. All right, never mind. I don't know. My brain. I feel like it's like right there, but
sure. We'll
actually
attest to that.
No, we're thinking of different guys. I'm thinking of like a really like clean cut, steezy London dude.
We all got three.
Like
there's three London
Subrosa dude.
See if there's any. Well,
God,
you can just look up Boy
so
BMX,
cool,
but that probably won't come up.
That'll be
Boy.
Anthony,
Anthony
Flores.
LA
a lot. So
and
anyway,
see, I wish this footage would have been seen by the light of day.
So what was this? This was footage like that.
There's
you
your
feel like
spot.
it's some of your.
Yeah, that was pretty trashy for me. But you rode that AZ spot. Right. No, it was just like I was like just soaked on this footage, and
I don't feel like I've ever seen this.
It would have been for GUTI, but I wanted to do the Def Grip thing, and I planned on filming a lot more and finishing GUTI, but somewhat time after this is when me and Sure didn't see eye to eye, and
so you. I guess I knew this obviously at the time, but right now I'm blanking. You didn't have a part in GUTI at all.
No.
Because if for my head being on the trip and seeing it, like you had such an integral part of that video, you not having a part.
I made the first trailer.
Yeah.
And like,
Okay. And then Bobby took over. No, Chadwick took over. Okay.
That was a hard moment, you know, like, because technically when I talked to Ryan, it, you know, we didn't see eye to eye, totally fine on some stuff. And, you know, I didn't think the conversation would head there, but by the end of it, it was that I was no longer going to be riding for Subrosa. Huh. Like, it was kind of like there was no that I got fired or, you know, it wasn't like this rude thing. Like, it was just like, okay, we're not going to do this. And I asked if I could do the press release and just to give me like 24 hours. And 10 minutes later, he said yes. And then 10 minutes later, my phone was blowing up and it was like on the come up, like Miles is no longer riding for the team. And it made it, the way it was written out, it made it look like I was like a drug addict or something.
Oh, shit.
Like, people thought that that's why I was getting
that you were off the rails.
It was really, so you guys talked and you said, give me 24 hours and 10 minutes later.
And I was like, let me do a proper press release. And it was about 10 minutes later, the come up posted it. And that's the only real dirty thing that I think has kind of happened to me in BMX. And I still have respect for sure. I'm sure he didn't.
How do you think it got to the come up?
He sent it. It said from Ryan Scher on the
post. Okay. It was like that. All right, shit.
But, you know, I'm sure him and Ron probably just thought it would be best to like go ahead and let them know. But it was worded quick and tight and it didn't make me look good.
Yeah.
And then I had a hard time finding a sponsor again, but then the next one would be Stranger. Okay. But to stay in the Subrosa world for a minute though, dude, I would have made GUTI so fucking badass. And you know, this wasn't a reason that I was off Subrosa, but like sure did want this footage for GUTI, but I also really wanted to do the Def Grip thing. It's like me being here, like, Nuno had asked me to do it and like, you know, do the interview style. And so Ennis filmed the interview and I had riding footage. And so like, I was like really proud of this piece. And some dudes hit me up from prison that like said there was two of them and they knew each other in jail, but they had started riding again from like watching this. Cause like in the interview, I'm talking about like, you know, passion and finding a camera and just all this stuff, you know, that's when I was like in my head about it. And like, so gun ho. And but then this got taken down cause I was off the team.
This is an hour long.
Oh, this never came out. I was going to say,
it was out. I don't really remember this either.
No, it looks sick.
It says, no, it's a weird thing. Okay. It's like, the time code is throwing me off right there. So
it was only out for a little bit or something?
Yeah. Yeah. Cause Def Grip went under and then Ryan deleted it off the Subrosa page and like some of my other stuff too, like my welcome and they're like it was really weird. Like Garrett even said it last night. He was like, I still had a part in Subrosa and like my era. Whenever I was off the team, like my videos were off of
like it never
Vimeo
happened.
And shit. Yeah. And I had like asked for him. Like I asked like Ryan a while back on Instagram for this video and I never got a response. And then I found it when I was uploading, trying to find the TWMs and going through all those drives. I fucking found it in a random folder. And I was like, here it is. The footage exists.
Oh, yeah, so, that's what's up.
And
and then so how long did Subrosa really last?
I mean, last with me?
Yeah, was it like another couple years? I made a
frame. They made me a frame. I had the Pegarillos. They did the shoe with Osiris while I was on Osiris and still on Subrosa. And it was a few years. Like it was a good run. And we were, I mean, the point of it would have been GUTI.
Yeah.
Like Chadwick did a great job. The riders did a great job, but like my version of GUTI coming to a head would have been like a really great move, like point for me in my BMX career. But also I think with, you know, LaShawn and getting to get Simone in there. And, you know, I think it would have been a different video. Yeah. But it was like my baby at the time. And I would have really liked to seen that come to fruition.
How far along were you until it?
I mean, we already had one trailer out. Had all the footage. I mean, I'd say we were like halfway done, you know, like.
That's hard. I never knew that story at all.
also like halfway done, and I had a game plan. I was like, put us on, anywhere from like 6 to 8 trips, X amount of dudes each trip, and like you'll have it. I had a program.
Yeah,
and that was part of the other. Some
what
of the
happened?
Things.
It was just.
It was like budget stuff, and like one of the things me and Ryan weren't seeing eye to eye on, which it was something that was totally out of his control, but like, this happens to a lot of BMXers, but you get paid on the first, but you got to be a big boy. And that means that they have the ability to write that check from the first, get it in the mail, get it in your hands. And so, I just had heard from some other teammates that like, it was really hard for them at a moment thinking they'd get paid the first every month. And I'm like, dude, you got to be ready to wait 10 days. And that you shouldn't be relying on that check only.
Yeah.
Anyways, you know what I mean? Like if that you got 2 problems here, And so I would just kind of relay that, and I would be helping said teammate or whatever to like float through those days. And it just became like this extra added pressure on me, where I was like, well, can we not start writing them like on the 25th? So that it gets into these hands, like, can we figure out a way around this? And just the way the structure over there, it just wasn't going to budge. And I understood, because like banquet is net day 30, everything I do, I fucking have to wait for a check, and, but some people don't know that when they're not used to the freelance lifestyle.
It is frustrating.
It still
everything
is.
Now, deliver as soon as possible. Now wait 30 days or more.
My accountant's on vacation.
Yeah, exactly.
You get the check when Sherry gets back,
Sherry.
That's crazy though, that was like such a big controversy for you guys. It seems like that's really nice of you to kind of come in and be like, hey, this is what's happening with the team. They don't understand it. Can you just write them a little early? Like, is it that big of a drama?
I just don't think certain people weren't really willing to like express those feelings. But when I'm like trying to film them and like it's almost to like a teary-eyed situation.
Yeah.
I'm like in the middle
you're
of
fronting
this,
them.
you know what I mean? Yeah. I'm like, hey, can we try to smooth this out so like when we're in the streets,
we can
I can keep doing what I'm supposed to do. I'm living in San Diego with Wong, with Kyle, with LaShawn, like the pro, the heavy side of the pro team, like we all live here.
Yeah. If
we could keep this smooth, or like, take a couple trips, and there wasn't really budget for the trips either. Like, so I don't know. It just, I'm sure that, from the other perspective, that maybe they thought I could have gotten it done in a certain amount of time as well. But like, any other time I've been in that position, like Stranger, for instance, or, anything else, it was really like, do it on your time, your terms, and it ends up being this way.
Yeah.
And I definitely didn't like take fucking years and years and years to make shit.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
I'm pretty quick, I'm pretty fucking quick, so, just little disrupts here and there, but I would have liked to have made that video.
Yeah, for sure. It would be interesting to, parallel universe, like see that version of it.
Yeah. It would have been rad. And then still no hard feelings, the Sparkies, sure. Any of the stuff. I did like kind of get a little bit of me ripped out when that whole thing kind of fell down. Cause it was like the way I felt leaving Mongoose to be a part of something and like be able to do what I wanted to do in that way, like the branding of the video. And it's gotta be black and white, but like you get to film and make it, and, it was like a really big honor to be able to film those dudes and to make that video. And so like, I didn't just lose my sponsor and my team. I like lost this project too. And so it hurt.
That hurts. Yeah. And it's very respectful of you to look at both sides the way you do. And you don't seem like angry about it, which like it is.
It was business, man.
I feel like Miles knows that he's like you're as polarizing and as you are, you're also like, you're a force. And when you have your way, you want it your way too, 100%. So it's like, I'm sure has his, I'm sure Ryan has his version of the story that also makes sense to him.
Yeah.
And
that's
you guys
about Miles, being able to explain it.
I've got the team and I have Ryan, then Ryan has me and he has his.
Yeah.
And You know, it goes both ways down the spectrum.
Yeah. He has his Arby's.
So yeah,
you know,
totally. So you know, where me and him meet, it goes two directions, and we tried to hold it together. Like I've got no hard feelings, but I just wish I could have finished that. That would have been cool.
Well, where does the trip come in? How does the trip become in existence?
Yes, a good question. The trip started in a hotel room in Miami with the Deadline crew that was in Miami. There's a Tuesdays with Miles Miami that's still around. You can find that. But it was a bunch of the squad. Steve-O, Colin was on that one. Augie was on that one. Look at them all. Ty. Colin's a little skinny baby. Like you wouldn't even... excuse me. Because Colin's like jacked. You know what I mean? He's
an athlete.
He was a wrestler or whatever, still here, but like he wasn't bulked up yet, and still fucking like doing 180 whips off like little shit and being a crazy rider. He was really great.
Where is he?
He's in the middle right there.
Oh, look at him! Yeah,
he's little Colin. But yeah, so that's the hotel right there. But so we pull up and I was filming with that on my fucking leg.
That me?
Right. But so we pull up to the hotel and actually they were already going and Steve-O randomly got me on the phone. He's like, yo, fuck it. Like, come out here. I was like, well, I got to do a Tuesday tomorrow. He's like, yeah, it's fine. And then help us film and, you know, it'll be badass. So like we all met up and we get to the hotel and it's like packed. And we already have a room and this guy, he's in the beginning of the trip video. He's like, Trip, man. He's that old dude in the overalls with no shirt and the really long hair. So we're loading into the room and he's like next door and he's like wandering up. He's like, you guys are dead. And we're like, what? And he's like, deadheads. And so everyone in the hotel were deadheads because there was a Grateful Dead concert going on. And he's like, man, I've been following. This is like the 7th stop of the tour. We're following them in our van. And I'm like, cool. And he's like, you guys smoke? And we're like, yeah. He's like, can you buy a pipe? That's how we're getting gas. And so he like had these glass pipes that he was selling. And anyway, that dude got us mushrooms. The trip is not actually about tripping. The trip is like the trip of life. We have this whole little thing that me and Ty talked about, but we were tripping in the hotel room. And Ty and I were just like, you know, we're watching all these videos and we're talking about the industry, like not necessarily BMX, but everything, you know, and we're like, we're in a deadline situation, but we also like Ty and I are talking and even with the crew, we're like, but there could be something else, you know, that's like some t-shirts and it's not just about a DVD, but it's like a crew.
Yeah.
And so like, cause you know, Deadline was Deadline DVD and it kind of like stayed in that realm, even when they wanted to do t-shirts and stuff.
And they were like a crew that grew up together. They were like a tight crew.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So Trip was something where we could gather from all around and like, kind of like you wanted to do with Market. You know what I mean? It's like, we get to just actually like pick the homies and, you know, it had to be approved by everyone too. Like we weren't going to put on new people without the whole crew being involved, you know? So, and yeah, the trip of life is like, you get one trip, like whether you're into hallucinogens or not, your timeline starts at birth and it ends at death. So that is a journey. That is your trip around the universe. You know, it's your, from eye open to eye close. That's your trip, you know? So there's fun things you can do in between those two times and ride bikes and whatnot. But it was about like your existence here. And we ate mushrooms in fucking Miami.
I love it.
So
it was you and Ty, for the most part. Like you two were the
we were the main founders, And you know, we had the crew, and then Ty and I kind of like had crew picks. Like he was like, well, I want Rick Scott, and I was like, okay, well, you know, I want Vasquez, and then he's like, well, what about Pat King? I'm like, that's cool. Let's get Seamus. You know, like we kind of like it was like we were both like football like coaches drafting, but for the one team, you know what I mean? And so that's kind of how that part came about. And man, it was just the sickest shit, dude. Like we wanted to do the DVD. Actually, we had this whole idea of like having a video a week, like this thing called Blunch. We like rolled all these blunts and put them in a sandwich and did like this close-up video of like, you know, it was going to be like Blunch, and that was going to be like one segment. And like, cause the Tuesdays with Miles thing, we figured it out. So we were going to start our own website and all this and that. And like that just, we started looking at it. And by the time it was done, it was like, we're a clothing company and we're going to make a badass video and then like take it from there, you know? And then the trip video, it was so intense. Like,
I mean, this is it, right? Making sure I didn't.
Well, this is the new one.
This is the new one. Yeah. So that's, I knew I was like off a little bit.
But the video, man, like fucking me and Ty were talking and we just flew 13 of the dudes out to Tulsa. And I had a 3-bedroom house. It was John, who doesn't ride BMX. He had a room. And then I had a room and Drew had a room. And there's a back room that wasn't a bedroom, but that kind of ended up being Ty's bedroom. But we brought like everyone out. Like we brought Tammy, Patrick, Steve-O, Seamus, LaShawn. Everyone was living in this 3-bedroom house. And the summer, it was like summer in Tulsa, like 107 degrees. Ooh. And Steve-O was like one of the only ones that really wouldn't, not ride in that, but like he was like, bro, it's fucking hot. This is fucking crazy. He'd still get out and do the big ass crooked down the rail and then get back into the shade a little bit. But like, he's the one who always reminded me how we would just be waking up and I'd like hit the Evan and it'd be like 10 o'clock, like, let's go ride. And like PK would just be like, fuck this, you know, like, no. But when everybody got out, everybody always went fucking ham, you know? And, but yeah, we'd have like different crews go out at different times, but same thing, 13 dudes in the fucking house for like at least a month, I think. And then, once we had that done, we started getting a little bit more here and there, like after that 1 month and to fill up the spots. And then we finished the video. So
when I think of the trip, I think of like the lifestyle and like what you guys put out there. And obviously the bike riding spoke for itself, but like the lifestyle and what you projected and out as like fun and just like what we all wanted to do. You know, like you guys were living the life that we all wanted, where you guys had fuck all responsibilities, it seemed, and you guys just fucking went out and filmed, and there was like a little bit of fucking man
on our own, you know. Yeah, it's like and it's still one of the sickest teams, quote unquote teams, to have ever been. You know, it's like you got Lacey, Sims, JJ, Garrett, Seamus, Eric Hawley, Steve Croteau, like the ups and downs of like you have every fucking style. You know what I mean? You got PK. Fucking just you had one of everyone. Wong, you know, like if we need a tabletop, we got the dude to call. You know, we need a manual 180 a rail, but going at it, not with it, we got Sims. You know, like we have one of everybody. You know what I mean? And so that was the fun part. So when we would do this shit ourselves, somebody always filled the void for whatever riding style you had also. Yeah. So it's like this crew that could technically take over any spot at any time, and we're having a fucking blast doing it. You know? So it was a lifestyle thing, but yeah, the team that we had just made it so cool because everyone was just their own little action figure.
What happened character, with it? You know? It seemed like if there was like someone who would have handled just like I don't know, like you said, it was perfect. Like it seemed like you could have just funded it through
shirt sales or something. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Ty did a great job of trying to hold it together.
That side of things is hard if you don't have someone who's like invested their life into that.
Right.
The business.
I had gotten pretty loose around this time. So this is back when we're in San Diego. Like all of a sudden I'm kind of like full force. I actually might have even been in LA at the time. I think I was in LA. Yeah. But all of a sudden, you know, I've like fucking picking myself up off the ground. And I'm talking like kind of like with my alcoholism in a sense, you know, and I'm like really trying to get Ty to, you know, jump in on these ideas with me. And, you know, he just, he was dealing with Deadline and Fiend. And it was just kind of like, I was a little late to where things needed to be in. So I take the blame for that in a sense. But Ty kind of took it in his own direction after that. And it's totally fine. But he saw it as more of like a streetwear brand. And the designs he made were sick. Everything he was doing is sick. The second DVD, I mean, that was all pretty much him, the mixtape. But I think with like any clothing thing, I think it got kind of hard to it just be that. Like he had all the boxes in his garage and like the inventory, probably how you have with Market, you know? And
it's like when it's just you trying to do everything, it just feels impossible.
And so he had the whole office at his house in LA and, you know, filming for Fiend and Deadline. And having those orders, it's like, you know, it's a lot to handle. And doing t-shirts is just a hard play, you know?
It is.
So
who came up with the logo?
100%, man.
I did in a sense.
Okay.
Yeah. Ty approved it, but it's because it's 3 crosses actually. So when the whole thing, when it all says trip, the P goes through the other one. And so this is when like Ty and I were on like zeitgeist shit. That's why we have like the Freemason t-shirt that's like prospect or fucking, why can't I say the word? Prospect of our demise or something like that.
Okay.
Where it's like, we know it exists, but we don't like fully believe in it. And like, there's only 27 symbols that can make someone think of another symbol. And you know,
that
the whole
phase. Okay. I do remember that. I remember that
we
detail.
were in there. We were in
detail.
there. So like, they're technically upside down crosses, but it's TT the trip. And then the third one makes it this other. Yeah. We were thinking hard.
It was cool though. It is cool. Like there's so many good shirts and everything. That's why I didn't.
Dude, yeah, he
not
killed
to say that it fails or anything because it's still going and it's sick. But I'm just like, it's all the dots are right there. The logo's cool. The name's cool. You guys are cool. Like everything's perfect. It just same thing with Market. It's just like you need that extra. You need like
you need the accountant.
You need
You
got all your friends.
You need the person that's locked in the cave while you guys are having all the fun.
Well, and then you know, like you know, it's just like Market in the sense where
you miss the session.
It seems like, I mean, Ty did everything he could. I feel like, except for like this one little slip moment I had in my life, look how we got the first video done. Like we were willing, but then at the same time, riders are going through their own things. So like during this time after the first video, like Holly leaves BMX. PK leaves BMX. You know, people were actually stopping this part of their life. You know, and so that kind of switches up the, you know, just like that happening, Ty needing to be invested in Fiend that no one knows it's going to happen. You know what I mean? Like getting ready for their big grand opening. You know what I'm saying? So
and
like
bands and all this other shit. That's
it
like,
seems
you know,
cool, but so many people trying to keep that together while then small segments of it get pulled in different directions, whether it's leaving BMX or having to fully focus on that sponsor. You know, it's a hard wrangle, you know?
Yeah. The crew thing's hard because it's all timing.
Yeah.
You know, unless you blow it up to where the crew
when you had Market, you were ready to do it all. You know, it worked. It worked in that moment.
When the Market Zero came out, it was slowly after where, you know, Rob's not fully pro anymore. Jeff's starting to not do it too. You know, like Ronnie's starting to do his own thing. Yeah,
you know,
like it's like people are like, why don't you do Market again? I'd be like, it'd be like me and Chad.
Well, it'd just be different.
You know, or we'd have to or create a whole new thing, which is cool too. But it's like,
but you didn't have to try and do it. So when you and that's what made that's what made both of these things so magical in their time because they just happened.
Well, and it was cool. Like it was everyone's sponsor was like thought it was awesome that they were going to be a part of this thing, you know. And same with you. But then after the first one, then it's like, okay, well, we're going to do another one. It's like, well, you got to make us some videos. Like, you also got to come ride for Haro. You know what I mean? Like,
I had a team manager
you don't just get to fucking ride for your own shit.
Literally had a team manager say that at one point, not being a dick or anything, but he's like, you got to make us some videos. You know, I'm like, I just do Market stuff. For 2 years. Like, I fucking, because it is cool because they're like, that's sick. They're doing their own thing. They're getting all this exposure, but it's like, you haven't been on our YouTube channel or like done anything for us.
So where'd it come from? You got to do it.
Oh, me and Ty just figured it out. Dude, I'm playing. We were doing a golf range today we were doing the golf range with Tammy today, and he goes 2 times. He reminds you, he still does that every time you see him. So he gave me a big hug when we met us at the beach. He goes 2 times, and I'm like, my dude, like he's just always on it, man.
Tammy's a man.
Tammy is
yeah. We actually talked about it. Like Ty and I were like, we need a handshake. Like we need to fucking. And it was like, fucking, we're doing this raw shit. Like so, it just kind of we came up with it, and then we branded it and stuck with it. Fuck it. Some people thought it was
original.
Some people thought it was stupid, and I'm like, as long as you're talking, bro, I don't give a shit.
I mean, honestly, it's like the fucking the sounds that would happen in a clip in the Animal video. Where it became it'd be this replicated thing where it's like so small and stupid, but it like.
Well, and then it's kind of like
created a movement.
Well, it's like the Freemason thing. Like even Draven Halford, Tulsa dude that rides for Hoffman.
Yeah.
Davin's son, Draven.
Yeah.
So that whole Davin's kid's now fucking riding.
Yeah.
But Draven still
kills
does this.
Still does it.
So it's almost like this like handshake, like that's the cool thing is like if they did it anywhere else they went, they're like repping the trip in their video. It's like you can give the handshake out to someone else too, but it'd be like, you're watching a fucking, Vans video. And you can see it, and it's like, okay, cool, that's right.
My normal homies that don't even ride bikes were doing that, from watching BMX videos with me, like they loved it.
Well, I mean, and like Sauce and the little common crew, they're like making fun of it, but they're still doing it, and then like, but now think it's sick. Like Sauce is my boy, and he's like, he was always making fun. Oh, you eating lunch? I saw you put that thing. Yeah. That's from the Stranger video, but he was always joking, but he was always a big supporter of what we were doing at the same time.
Yeah, they were talking shit on it because they were little shits.
Yeah,
even if they liked it, but they just wanted to talk shit on whatever was popular. Yeah, of course. Like that was, and they were fucking antagonists through and through. They kissed each other after a line to get a reaction.
Right.
Like
and to think that's what they
did.
When I met Ethan, he like had a totally different style. I like didn't even know he rode. So he had like his pants rolled up and like this greaser little thing going on. And then he got on a bike and like cranked onto the rail at MLK. And I was like, oh, this dude rips.
Ripped his hair off.
Rides as well. He's not just like the hang around friend with the crew that like doesn't ride. We all have one.
Yeah.
And they're probably cooler than all of us in all reality. But yeah, and then dude, he just blew up. And I'm like, I remember seeing him and thinking he looked like a kid out of Grease. The movie.
Yeah.
And now it's like Ethan, the fucking bad motherfucker on a bike,
Like you moved to California, obviously fairly early on. Like what was that move like from Tulsa to California? And then you moved to San Diego first? Yeah. And then am I confusing? I feel like I'm confusing it, but DeMarcus had like a story about how you put him on basically.
Yeah. Like,
okay, so I've heard DeMarcus tell this story. And I'm pretty sure he said it on the podcast. So I want to hear your version of putting. I want to hear moving to San Diego, and then let's transfer into putting that interaction with DeMarcus. How you denied him, he accepted it, waited it for him to it come back to him, and you hit him up, etc.
I denied it at one point.
He said that he hit you up on Twitter, so it makes sense that you wouldn't remember.
I don't even know how to use Twitter. I remember I had it for like a small moment.
Yeah.
And I just couldn't figure it out. But I might have read it, left it on red or something.
I think he's like, hey man, I think you were like, hey, I don't really know you, but if I bump into you, cool. But like I'm not gonna like come out and film you. And he like took it and he said he took it and he's like, yeah, that makes sense. Like I respect that.
Oh, I kind of remember this now. Yeah, that's so funny. But Twitter doesn't give you anything.
Yeah.
Like, well, just like, I'm like, yo, man, like you said, blah, 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 blah. It's your Twitter. I don't know who you are. He hit me up through Instagram. And I remember seeing him at the, what do you call it? Those contests that were at Mesh.
In Florida?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Because he was from Atlanta. So yeah, he probably did. Yeah.
So were they the Baco?
Oh yeah, probably Baco Jam.
Baco Jam.
Yeah.
I think it was Baco Jam. Me and Maloof went, and we were fucking riding that, and he like did a backflip fakie or something crazy during the. I think he did do a backflip fakie.
That's it.
When they were giving money out on the street side at the end of the like park tournament or whatever, and when he messaged me on Instagram, I like recognized the Atlanta hat, white shirt, skinny blue jeans. That was like his uniform for a long time, And I like remembered him. And so then like however I reached out to him or whatever it was, man, he's a beam of light, dude. Like whenever I was like, like, let's do this. And it's so funny because everything he told me that he would do, he did. But it was like, the day I meet him, I'm like, hey man, what's up? Like, we get into a small conversation and he was just like, it was like an interview almost. He was like, I'm just really inspired to be pro. I want to make parts and I'm going to do this right. And And I'm like, okay, that's like kind of weird to tell me right now, I guess, but like you're motivated, that's fine. And so like, then like I was always hyped to, after I film anything, like go straight to the computer, upload it and start getting involved and like have my whiskey there, And so he would come to the house afterwards, because he'd meet at the house, we'd ride and he would sit there, but he would like never drink, never smoke. And I'm like, this is in our little condo, like it's billowing, and like we're drinking, we're playing music loud as fuck. And he just like would sit in the chair, like with his backpack and just like fucking see the footage and be so stoked. And like every day when he would come ride, he was like on this regiment and he was just straightforward as fuck. And he would say, hey man, thank you. I mean it. And so on the post where he says some shit and then he goes, thanks, mean it. I would always like joke. I'd be like, why do you say you mean it? And he'd go, well, some people say thanks and you don't know if they mean it. And he goes, so I mean it. And I was like, you're so fucking awesome, dude.
Yeah.
So he's just super genuine. And dude, he's so marketable now, but he was marketable then and he knew what he had.
Yeah.
So
look what he's done, man.
And the
Now
day that he came in,
now he's out there.
I did feel like I put him under my wing that first moment in San Diego. He like hangered that rail next to that park everyone rode where Christian did up the ledge, foot jam, and then backwards down the rail. What's that like museum?
Balboa Park?
Yeah, Balboa Park. Over in the neighborhood next to that, there's that rail that goes down the like 9 stair, but the walls are up close to it, the white ones. It's like real thin.
Yeah.
He like hangered that first day.
He's the only one ever hit that.
I was like, so you're ready.
Like right there.
Yeah. That was like, we had never seen it. And we looked at it going to Balboa and he was like, I'll hanger this. And I was like, what? And he did it. And so it's like, dude, he just came through and it's so cool to see where he's at. He deserves every bit of it because he's always just been the exact same, just nice to your face, loyal, shreds. He's just here for the positive, know?
Yeah.
And so it was weird for me to meet someone like that at the time. I was like, this is, I'll film you, bro. But he was giving me the rundown, the agenda. And he made the agenda happen. He made it happen. So
yeah.
He did exactly what he said he was going to.
That's sick. Hell yeah. That's so cool to hear from your perspective because I've heard Demo like lament about it over the years, like about just like.
Well, and he's patient, I know we're talking a lot about him, and that's good.
Calculated.
But so many people would get a little shine or get a video, like not even with me, but anyone, and then expect all this shit to start fucking rolling over.
Yeah.
And he patiently just kept killing it and kept wanting it, but not wanting it like where it's in your face.
Yeah.
It was a good positive want. Mm-hmm. He was determined.
He's almost still doing that. Like,
I'm
still
he's
consistently working hard, killing it. And like,
that's how he was
GT
straight out of the gate.
Screwed him over with the helmet thing. And he's still just like, nope, I'm not going to be like, give me a frame sponsor. He's just going till he probably going to get another one,
He's humble as fuck.
Yeah, he is.
So,
he's out there killing it.
Oh, yeah.
Shout out to Marcus.
We need more humbleness,
Yeah. You can hit that thing. You're fine.
Okay, good. I was going to ask.
So, I see you looking at it.
I've changed a little bit. You see what I mean?
You're good.
Let's get some permission.
Yeah. I appreciate it.
So then there's Stranger and then.
Well, I want to see about San Diego, like moving to California, because I feel like he's already been here for a while. So like how were you able to move to California and then you moved to San Diego?
That's good because you just made me realize Tuesdays with Miles ended the week I was moving to San Diego.
Oh, okay.
I remember this now because that check wasn't coming with me to California and I'm leaving Oklahoma. So
you did it for 3 years living in Oklahoma. You were just bouncing around,
traveling around and shit. Yeah.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yep. Cause I was on Mongoose for a lot of it. And, when I was on Subrosa, that was like still in Oklahoma for a while.
Yeah.
But then the move out here was like, funny thing. Kyle Carlson has a good amount of credit in me moving here because, he's Kyle. I like Kyle. Some people like him, some people don't. Some people like me, some people don't. But Kyle is just really straightforward. And he was like, why the fuck are you in Oklahoma? And I was on Osiris and like moving up and like getting a raise. And he's like, move to fucking California. Like what? Subrosa's in California. Osiris is right up the road in Carlsbad. He's like, what are you doing? And I was like, I should, hun. He was like, yeah, please move to California. And so I was like, okay, this makes sense. Like I got GUTI to make. And I asked my partner at the time and they were willing to move to California.
Yeah.
And so like made the plans to do it. And I remember like crying the day before I left. Like it was a big deal.
You love
like,
Tulsa.
Well, yeah, I do love Tulsa. I won't deny that. But I mean, I think you should love where you're from and your roots. And, you know, I made it happen in Tulsa without YouTube, without, you know, like this is like send in your sponsor me tape and hopefully they put it in another camera and play it, you know, like type of days. So, you know, Tulsa's a great place to ride. It's got great culture outside of riding, the Art Deco there. It's like, we used to joke that it's like the little LA of the Midwest. Like it's like a smaller version of just this like dope little town. But yeah, I remember right before we left, the banquet thing was no more. And so like that amount of my check with like, okay, I got Mongoose or I got Subrosa, this and that. I got, you know, Osiris and like, then I had the banquet thing and like that leaving, it was like, oh shit, this makes this like a lot more real, you know, like I just lost a part of my salary where I was banking on that. So that's when Tuesdays ended. But yeah, San Diego was supposed to just be super good with all the Subrosa dudes being there. And the trip dudes, like me and LaShawn got a spot and moved out right when Garrett, JJ, Tony, and Ennis all moved to the college.
I remember that
little house. And so that was like Trip and Deadline and Subrosa.
And
like
market days.
Yeah.
It was a heavy time period.
Yeah, we all lived so close.
Yeah. And so, and dude, it was weird. Like the street I lived on in Hillcrest was Tyler and the alleyway behind my house was Morrow. I literally lived, and for him to be in existence and there be two streets that spell your name out is weird enough. But I'm like living in between Tyler and Morrow Street. That's like, you know, and I didn't even realize it was like Tammy or someone was like, you know, your alley is named Morrow, right? And I was like, what's the deal? And he's like, your address is Tyler. I'm like, Tyler. I'm like, oh, Ty Morrow. And like, I called Ty. He's like, dude, that's fucking weird. Well, we're here now. But yeah, it was like all of that kind of happened at once because Wong and them were on the trip.
Yeah.
And so it was like this little sister companies thing. And then you guys are here. You were planted here.
Yeah, we're
so
right
it was
up.
just,
We're
it was
two
a really
exits
cool
up from
time.
those guys,
You know,
like,
it was a really cool time.
Really was.
I can't remember
when it happens. It was just like, oh, this is happening. We didn't even think about it. But
Well, I mean,
looking
you
back
lived
on it,
here
like,
your whole life. So all of a sudden the people come in, but it's like people you probably wanted to come in.
Fuck yeah.
You know, you were like, what's up, Ty? What's up, JJ? What's up, Garrett?
Yeah,
like,
no, it was amazing.
please
It was
come
insane.
shred over here. Like,
yeah, Garrett came straight after high school, you know? It was
Yeah.
like all of a sudden, it was just like all these homies were just in San Diego.
Yeah.
It almost seemed unreal.
It was unreal because I came down one
Because it
time
didn't even
and
seem that weird.
it was a crew of 16 or so of like the top dudes
we're deep.
on the
we were
planet.
rolling deep, dude.
And it was, I was
But I
like,
feel
this
like all
cannot,
of
I was
our
like,
crew-
these dudes are not going to meet up like in 2 or 3 weeks. Like they're going to split off, you know, like there's no, you can't function 16 deep. Like
Well, I
it's
feel
just
like all
impossible.
of our crews already, like our age and like the people we were already were like the people who gravitated towards each other anyways, anytime we were together. So when everyone moved to San Diego, it just seemed so normal. And it wasn't like we all have to hang out all the time. It was like we all just kind of like gravitated around each other.
Yeah.
That's why I didn't feel that weird. It was just like, oh, it's like instead of a trip, it's just every day.
So
like, if you
this
want to
is
hang out.
was there a time period where they're working on deadline, you guys are working on trip and you're working on market?
Probably.
There was definitely some who has ice picked this rail conversation.
Oh yeah.
and specifically the ice pick with JJ and Christian.
Yeah.
Like it was like who got that one?
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
and like so there was some like phone calls made and shit.
Well, there was a stick. I know there was like the sticker plan where if you did something there, you left the sticker and then you'd make the phone call to see what was done. I knew there was a lot of that.
It really wasn't too many people.
It wasn't that. It wasn't
paths
that
like that.
Yeah.
Honestly, with that many good riders, it still was like everyone was so different. Still,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
like
That's why I brought up the ice pick.
It's Christian and JJ.
There was like one or two rails where like, I know that JJ had, well, you know that the rail.
It was JJ's banger. And Christian also wanted that clip.
No, I don't think it was the banger.
Yeah, JJ's double kinkered. And
but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the ice pick over by like PB or something, but it's that rail on the left and it's really mellow and it's long as fuck.
Goes into dirt.
And it goes into dirt because JJ was trying it. And
by
I was
the water, Mission Bay.
Mission Bay.
Yeah. Okay. What happened?
So that was an actual rail that the discussion was going.
I think there was so much discussion. No one ever did anything on it.
JJ tried it for hours and I was trying to double peg opposite 180 the same day with him. And I couldn't roll out of the 180 in the dirt. And JJ was giving it and he almost got it a bunch of times. And then we were pretty sure that Christian also went and tried it and didn't get it. And then I think we went back with JJ, or JJ was going to go back again. And it was just no one got it, but I think both of them tried it.
That's funny.
And so then it was like a funny little thing. Like, do we need to call Christian and see if he's
done
the JJ and Christian thing? You know, like it was lightweight, but I don't, like you said, other than like
everyone communicated
pretty
well too, though.
It wasn't.
I remember that. Like
deal.
Christian was always the guy who would get on the phone to Garrett, you know, or like, who did this here? You know, like there was. And it was real communication. Everyone was just honest with each other.
Because nobody wants to do something that they're not going to get the reward from. No one wanted
something in a video that was going to to come out 6 months after the other dude.
There's no winning.
Like, everyone was dialed.
I don't have to ask if anybody's done anything.
And you're doing ET to 180.
No one did my bullshit. You know?
So San Diego, and then that lasted how long? Because I feel like I was up in LA already at that point. So when you came up to Long Beach, and then I think you were in Long Beach for a little bit, and then you went deep LA, or at least like, I don't know how it bounced around, honestly.
Yeah.
The come up days, all Long Beach shit.
Well, it was, if I'm right, like I could be wrong, but I don't think I am. But I think after the split with Subrosa, I remember being home for a few months for an injury.
Okay.
Maybe that was my knee or my shoulder, but,
shoulder.
Cause then when I moved back to SD, also I'd broken up with my partner at the time. So that house that LaShawn and I lived at fell through.
Yeah.
So I was home for a while. And then when I came back, I moved into, a house with Tammy.
Okay.
And he was staying at, rest in peace, LeBerg's girlfriend's house that had the pool, and it was over by
down south,
the Deadline house. It was over by that college.
Okay.
And so I was renting a room there, and Tammy's girlfriend lived there. And that's when I didn't have a frame sponsor. So I was either riding that blue premium or a black, just some random bike or whatever the fuck. But that's how I came back into SD. And then Tammy stopped living at that house because whatever happened with him and his girl. And so I was just living at this house with LeBerg's ex-wife and Tammy's ex-girlfriend. And I was just like, this is a little weird to me now. The house was dope.
Should I call Springer now?
The house was dope. It had a swimming pool. I had my own room with my own bathroom and shit. It was it was dope, and it was cheap to live there. But I was like, but this is, without Tammy here, I'm not as comfortable as I was.
Yeah.
So that's when I had moved to, I guess when I was moving to Long Beach was because of the talk with Rich, probably.
Oh, okay.
So, because Rich had actually tried to get me on low tech a year or so before this, and it was different because what he wanted then was the TWM program for low tech.
Oh, yeah.
And
that goes to the time period. The time period is so crazy because it's
all on top of each
we
other.
want a video per week out of you, you know,
but
the concept is crazy.
So I guess since I delivered it, everyone was like, oh, what the fuck? That's a thing, you know,
it wasn't manageable. I remember working a ride and being bewildered that you could do it, honestly, because because it was pure bike riding. It wasn't really it wasn't like a vlog or like a lifestyle
not
thing.
Many YouTubers can go 3 years straight just making complete whatever
edits, actual editing.
Well, and
I think that's the issue.
There was some dark times with TWM. Tammy, I need to get this done. I'll buy you dinner and I'll throw you some cash, and it was ugh, and it'd be hot and he'd be down, but like if he kind of rolls his ankle or hits his elbow on something that he does all the time, then he's getting mad, throwing his bike. But it's like, cause there's pressure all of a sudden, you know? So I won't lie that like I had to get some people to do some shit.
Yeah.
And they all did it, but like, you know, you throw some money into it, or, you know, let's get lunch and do this and that. And like, you know, so everyone was down to help make it happen. But there was some times where it got a little dry of like, you know, we just want to go ride and like not make a video, you know? Like, so I'm sure I was annoying or a prick in some moments.
But at least I feel like you delivered so much positive in other aspects that it was like people wanted to help you in a lot of ways, even though it fucking sucked in the moment.
Well, I mean, it could be, for me, I had to get the video done no matter what.
Yeah.
But so like you're saying, oh, they're getting, you know, publicity, their sponsor should be happy. That's glass half full. The glass half empty version of that, I still have to make the video.
Yeah. And I'm the dickhead for making them do shit. Yeah.
That should be promoting them in the BMX world.
Yeah.
But, you know, it depends on how you're looking at it that day and how you're feeling.
Exactly. And
when you're making a video on a Monday with a mini DV camera.
With one rider
needs to be done by Monday night. You know, it can get a little stressful.
Understandable.
You might add a little too many headshots.
Understandable.
Start pulling out the how-to bars.
They were like, why do they bump fist after every clip? I'm like, there's 7 clips in the video. Like, let me get it to a minute and a half long, please.
Is that what had to be a minute and a half?
There was some dumb number that they ended up never caring after like the progress like was good. You know, like a few months in, it was like, I don't have a time limit. But they did start it off
something
with,
there in the beginning,
you know, some regiment
requirement. Yeah.
But after I did it, I was like, I'm gonna do whatever I want. I'm not looking at that shit like sheet anymore, you know?
So Long Beach days, you pieced out of the Jerry Springer episode, so go up to Long Beach.
Rich had hit me up when I was on Osiris. I mean, I was on Osiris that whole time, but he had hit me up and wanted me to ride for Low Tech and do like the TWM thing. And then, Banquet fell out and I called him, and the only way he wanted to make it work was if I rode Low Techs. And that just, the thing we tried to figure out just wasn't going to work because like I didn't know I was getting a shoe at the time, but you know, I had fucking, the shoe thing was already happening, but I had a shoe and I was getting a good paycheck from Osiris, and I didn't want to leave it for the deal we were going to have.
Yeah.
And I still wanted to do it, but the only way he saw it working was with Low Tech specifically. That was the baby he had at the time. And so then whenever the Subrosa thing came down, like he ended up chopping it up with me, and he was like, I want to rebirth Stranger. And it wasn't like the TWM shit. It was just like, Stranger. You're the video guy. You do that. I'll make the parts. This is the team.
Mm-hmm.
And it was
when
like,
you say rebirth Stranger, who rode for Stranger before that?
Sean Mack and Caleb Quambeck. And there was because, you know, I'm trying not to like forget people's names, but like, you know, sometimes you forget the word Eli Platt, you know, there were some riders. They had a little team. And, but it was definitely Sean Mack and Caleb Quambeck were like,
but Eli Platt was Subrosa, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I'm just saying, but a name,
like a name.
There's
like
some people that were on Stranger with those
fucking
dudes.
Incredible bike rider, short impact. Yeah. You know, like
so. Yeah, I mean, because you just forgot.
Yeah, Stranger had a V1.
Sean rode for Stranger.
Yeah.
You know, like you wouldn't think that when you first think of shitty, but he was like the first dude. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Or him and Caleb used to like argue about that, I think. But either way, so yeah, the rebirth. We keep Caleb.
Sean went to Fit.
Yep.
Yeah.
And but yeah, it was super cool. Like Rich had an idea of the riders and I approved. And then then it became this thing where like, you know, me and dude, Brenner was a huge part of the rebirth. Like it was so rad to have Rich and Aaron.
Aaron was a straight up TM, right?
It was, dude, he was a straight up boss.
Yeah.
Like he's just a bad motherfucker. Like he was the TM. But, and Rich was the brand manager, the BM, but they just worked real well together. And like, Aaron was in the office at Tip, but also in the streets with us. And, Aaron was also filming and living with me in our like loft, by MLK Park. And so it just like, when that whole thing started in Long Beach, it was just great. Like we got a badass fucking loft right by MLK Skate Park. that was in an old bomb asylum.
Is this
This
the first
video? Yeah. And
this
so
is just the trailer, but
oh, dude, the trailer's sick.
Yeah, this is the one. Like this sound, Danny Brown.
This is when it was hot shit.
Yeah, I'm gonna turn it down, but Danny Brown, like, I need to add his music to my fucking library again. I forgot about him, but trailer is like,
yeah, this was the shit.
Fuck. Gabe with the Gatorade tattoo.
dude, Rich is a smart motherfucker and had great ideas, but like me and his ideas just like went in sync with each other.
Yeah.
Like he would just let me do my thing, turn it in, and then he would just throw the graphics on. And like there was never like a headbutt with what I would bring to the table for him and what he was, doing for us on the design and like the everything other part of it. Like he let us do our thing, man. It was sick. And, that's because Aaron was fighting for everybody always. Like, not necessarily actually having to fight maybe, but I mean, that always happens with a job, but he was our guy with, the primo riders and the stranger riders. We had our boy with us, he'd ride with us and then he'd go into the office and make sure we were all taken care of.
Aaron was a silent doer. He was like, he does the work and then he doesn't talk about it.
He's got a degree for fucking logistics, he knows how things should be done and he fucking did it, man. He's the best TM I ever had for sure.
That's sick.
And he's one of my best friends. One of my best friends I've ever had too.
What's he doing now?
He's doing this really cool thing in North Carolina where,
like sets.
He's not doing that anymore. So like on a, like, let's say like the nice ass speedboat, like the padding that you step on in the boat, they invented.
I don't know what that is, but
like you're on a boat.
You never been on a nice ass speedboat?
Like the carpet of the boat.
It's soft, like nice soft stuff.
They
like
have
foam
versions,
or something.
But they made a like waterproof foam that you can also like design with like, whether it's
whatever,
like
flames or something.
A graphic.
Yeah.
And it's like really him and his dad invented it. And he came to Tulsa to a big boating expo and they had their own booth and like, so yeah, he's like doing his own damn thing over there.
When him and Tony were doing those the convention sets and like the design and I was like, oh my God, shit is so like talented. The talent that it takes to create and build these things. I'm like, fucking hell.
They did like some thing for like Reebok or like some whatever, but Aaron was getting into like creating that stuff. Yeah. But I think it hit like a roof of how far they were going to allow him to go. Yeah. And you can't, Aaron's really smart. He'll leave if he's not getting what he deserves, So
I lived with Aaron for a while and it was like, I kind of felt like I didn't really get I feel like he's, like I said, he's like silent. He doesn't talk about what he does and doesn't talk about what he knows. Like he just like does the shit. And so I like didn't really get this full sample of it in that short amount of time, So it was only like 6 months or something.
Well, dude, that's the other funny part of Aaron is like, he's that much of a badass, but it was always us being like, dude, you're the boss. Like you got this. Cause behind closed doors, he's also human and real humble. And like, he knew it was a big deal that he was the team manager to these riders with these names. Yeah. Yeah. So like we loved it, but to him, it was still like a bit intimidating. Yeah. And so like he would confess to me at times, cause it's like, holy shit, I'm really am these dudes' boss. You know what I mean? And that's a lot to take on. And so even living with you're fucking Fudger, like you're like, this is Aaron, but he's like, dude, that's that guy. Like he really looked up to people in BMX, and he was humble for that. So that's kind of why I think some of the quiet murder moves,
understated.
He's a sick guy, but
so I always think of him as primo and then Rich was stranger, but you're saying Aaron really did have like a huge involvement in stranger in the beginning.
Yeah. The cool thing about stranger that made it so great in that short period of time was Rich is really good at making a brand. Yeah. And the way that he was going with like logos and design and like, the branding of us, we were super into. Yeah. So it was like, oh, you're doing the fucking seat with the Aztec shit on it. Cool. Like we didn't have to approve anything he made because he was making cool shit. Mm-hmm. And so it was his vision. and then my camera. And so Aaron was really good at filming as well. And so Aaron was leaving the office to take us around to spots and finding spots and famous rails that we didn't know about. And like Aaron really, really was a part of like, he's like the middle of Rich and me, but he would go into the office, but then he would also like have the bag with his camera and like be like hustling us to get shit done. And so, yeah, he was a huge part of that. Yeah.
It's like the segue between Miles, your harsh delivery.
I need this guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, he saved my ass, I'm sure, a bunch.
Yeah.
You know?
No, Stranger, like what happened with Stranger? It was so perfect.
So yeah, that's where it gets funny. You know, then we do the no hype thing and
it's that massive squad. So it's like the redemption tour. Like Gabe left Kink. Sean is on his Alpha Premium. You had Caleb, who was a superstar for a little while too. Well, I mean, Caleb didn't relieve Stranger. He was on there, but you were off of Subrosa. Like you had Augie off of.
Sean wasn't even a part of this original.
Yeah, you got
trailer.
Sean. Yeah.
So we got Sean, and that was the cool thing. Like Rich hit me up, and like also Aaron brought it to the table, but like Rich hit me up, and he was like, "Hey, what do you think about the Sean thing?" And I was like, "I'm down, but the team has to be down."
Yeah.
And so when Aaron, you know, I was living with Aaron and Sean Mack had moved in too. And like Augie, I think was in town, but like, you know, we would all agree upon this thing. And so it was like, all right, Sean's in and fucking no hype happened. It was, everybody loved each other. We'd pick on Caleb because you have to have one person to pick on. Gabe's the fucking bodyguard.
Shout out to Caleb.
You know, Augie's make sure everybody's fucking got their tree or whatever that, you know, like everyone was fucking mingling and like linking together.
A bunch of psychopaths in a room getting along pretty well.
The chaos worked out. And then after no hype, you know, love Rich to death. And but he wanted at LZ.
Yeah.
And it didn't sound good in a lot of people's mouth. And you know, once Augie quit, I don't want to quote it, but I think Augie quit about the LZ thing.
I think that was the first. Yeah. And then, so you said that like he was running those team ones by you, like all the team moves. Like, do we put Sean on?
Everything was in-house.
Yeah.
From the new start with the VX mixtape and no hype, like everything was out in the open.
Yeah.
And then this LZ thing, it was like, well, it's happening. And none of us wanted it to.
Yeah.
Like, no offense to Adam as a person, but like what we had created, it's totally throwing different in an ingredient that doesn't work. You know, it's like if you're a chef,
just make it like LZ's like ambassador. You know
at that point it didn't really exist.
That would have actually been a smart move.
It would have been a great move.
It was like
just
right
the ambassador.
there.
Put it on the YouTube. But it wasn't a thing or what? Like,
but it still would have been weird to have this core team, and we know that there's this ambassador representing it next to cars on YouTube. I don't know. It just didn't feel right. And Augie he immediately left. I'm pretty sure because of that and other reasons. But I think that was
I think he said something like clown shit or something. I don't know why.
I think LZ had a big, like LZ was like the ticket. You know, it was like done. Gabe followed suit.
It was just like that.
And it's like, well, now you just took two major components of the system.
Yeah.
You know, like you took out two working cogs. The gears now no longer all move. Yeah. You know, and I'm like, oh fuck. And so then it just all kind of fell apart. You know, I went on one trip with, you know, it was like, it was in the come up van and it was like some stranger shop stops, but like Caleb, I think was there, but LZ was on the bus. I was on, but then it was just like some of the flow dudes and it just wasn't home again, you know?
Yeah.
And so then I left and,
makes sense.
I mean, LZ was cool, I assume.
Yeah. I mean, I think if I met him one-on-one, like outside of it, he'd be a cool dude. But like, you know, it's hard when you know that somebody's quit. Like I got to film someone that Augie left and I'm looking at him, not Augie.
Yeah. It's hard.
He feels that in his own way.
Of course.
You know? So like he sits in the front of the bus the whole time and like we throw a sticker at him or like, you know, he would just sit with his headphones on and like he wasn't participating. We got my dog and a bottle of whiskey in the RV at the table, you know, rocking out and he's sitting up front being quiet. So it's like, it wasn't the same.
Different vibe. Yeah.
And
probably like one of the only times in the BMX history that something like that's happened. like threw one dude on that like.
I mean, it would be again,
the whole brand just crumbled,
pieced out. Yeah. I mean, I've said it forever is that if LZ got added to the Mongoose Pro team, not big news. Nobody would.
Well, and actually proper fit.
Exactly. But like Stranger was the,
like he needs to be over in that area, you know, like it makes sense for everyone.
Yeah. It doesn't seem like there's anything wrong with him. It's just like placement for brand imaging. You know what I mean? Like if there's a dude on the team that's not what you guys are doing, that it made people just like, fuck, this isn't what we're all about. Like,
right.
Weird, because Rich seems like he was so good at putting that team together. Like, why'd he fucking blow it? Like,
but I heard that like it was still a good sales move in the end.
That's the thing.
Is Stranger even going anymore?
They are for sure. But like, I mean, I think
exactly the thing though. What we built.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm talking about.
And then, no, you're right. What I'm saying is what we built was amazing. But then once that was there, it was, how do I get this to grow to the next thing? And he did think it was a really good idea because of his reach.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't think it was. A lot of people don't think it was. I dealt with it. Like I was cool with Rich. I was like, if this is what you're doing, this is what you're doing. But it never worked out where I ended up going to.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like,
I would love if Rich came and did the podcast. I think Rich thinks I don't like him over, not even related to this stuff, but like I do care for Rich and I've had I think he's incredibly smart and he's an incredible designer, incredible marketer. And
I think on the Instagram thing, he said one of the good ones or something about me, dude. He's got this thing that we connect on that I have and some other people have had, but look up to him, even riding red line, everything he's done. He's a badass and no hard feelings at all. But I'm just being honest about where I think it stopped is the LZ thing.
Of course. And I think everybody from the outside looking in sees that as well. It was such a...
Yeah, I remember just crumbled and heard because I'm just on the outside as well, just heard the LZ thing. And I'm like, is that true? Like,
and
what?
Honestly, we never really talk about it from LZ's perspective. Like LZ,
that's gonna be so
dude,
weird.
It had to suck so bad.
That's what I was saying. Like he has his perspective.
Yeah.
It's like I still was like there to film him.
Yeah.
On that little like shops, like the little tour we went on in the bus. But it's like, you know, there's just the energies. Like him knowing that Augie left, and then I'm filming him. Like nothing is said, but it's not like. Let's get on. Let's go get it. You know, like where Augie, it's like fucking firsthand nature. Like this is my dude. You know, like so he definitely probably felt some type of way.
And I think it jaded him on BMX, which sucks because it put him in a different light. He had all this drama and all this shit, and then like oh, I don't belong. They don't care for me, et cetera, et cetera.
It's not even that. It's just it was just the whole thing. It's a big picture thing. Like, it's a big picture thing. It's not like Adam LZ sucks at all. Just like that, this doesn't fit that.
It was just a rupture in the system. It was just like,
that's crazy. It is crazy when you think back, but I mean, it was such a fucking crazy day or two with all that shit in the internet age.
Like back to back.
Yeah. Gabe, we took a little break and then it just kind of went that route. But right before we took that break, I did say Gabe.
Yeah. Fucking bad motherfucker, dude.
Yeah, that we saw the no hype. We saw the no hype. Just the thing, just like how fucking the flip over the rail and just the fucking dance, and then he tries to go hug. Caleb goes to hug him after something. And he fucking runs and flips over him. You know, like
you could never put like pinpoint what he was gonna do, but it was always perfect. Like he's just a ball of energy, man. Like, and his energy is still here. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it didn't matter what he was doing. It was just Gabe. Yeah. It was just too fucking cool.
Hadn't he not even rode for that long?
Mm-hmm.
Like you can see how talented of a human being he is when he runs up the wall and backflips.
He was sponsored within
the rail.
I think he was on Kink like his 4th year of riding.
That's insane.
Completely
insane.
You could see because I was
Stranger. What was like 5th and 6th year of riding or something? Like because it was right after Kink.
He was on Kink for a little while though.
He was on Kink for a little while, and it was like
long
because
enough
they
to
had
make a name, get that magazine article.
Yeah. And they had the Kink House.
Though. It couldn't have been that long.
It was a couple years. And so, but I mean, I'm saying like even within that time period. So it was like the Kink House. And then I ended up living with Jay and Daryl in Long Beach. And it was like, you could see Gabe's progression, like almost weekend over weekend. Like, and we're in the sense of like, he couldn't manual bench.
He's the only
he literally could not manual bench. And then a month later, he could fucking manual 180 it. Like it was insane. Like he had this like natural athletic ability to like spring out of shit. Not always in that fashion, but like get away from it,
he
jump over shit.
He knew how to fall.
Yeah. And it was insane to watch him.
You put all those aspects of him into one. He's the only rider that I wouldn't say no to learn a trick while I'm filming him.
Yeah.
He would do that with me. And he's the only, any other rider, I'd be like, motherfucker, take that to the skate park, land it 10 times, and then let's find a spot. Yeah. But like, since Gabe could hop so high and get out of shit so well, there was one time he was getting so mad. We tried this line twice for Stranger, and I even went back the second time. He was learning this trick. I forget what it was. It was like kind of one of his crook, crazy. He had this idea, and it was middle of the line, like second to last trick. So he was doing 3 tricks before trying this trick.
Yeah.
And then the thing at the end was like, let's just say it's like a Superman off of a dock into a wedge, something he would definitely do if he pulled that trick.
Yeah.
And he would just getting so worn out. And then he starts fucking up the first trick, and then he's throwing his bike. And then we get to this trick again, and then he's messing up the first one again. And it's all worn out after hours. And then he wants to go back. And I just, the only person I don't have the heart to be like, you need to learn the trick first, because him learning the trick, he ops so high, he doesn't need to learn it on a flat rail. A handlebar height rail to him is a flat rail to him.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't say no to someone trying a little thing on a little rail middle line, but you're looking at the spot and it's like, well, that is a little spot to you, So like the first time you film it, it's going to be on a spot that it was worth doing it on, And he's just crazy like that. Like, and I believed him every time, because that's the only one he never got done. Whatever we were doing in that line, that's the only one that was never accomplished.
Yeah.
He would learn shit right then and there down a big rail and do it, confidence.
I feel like the one thing that is always confusing about Gabe is that when I shot with him a lot of time, for all the confidence and all the boisterousness that he had, he hated people looking at him. Did he ever do that with you?
Yeah. Well, not necessarily me, but what the problem he had with me was, I'd been filming for so long that like I also sometimes like need to do something with my phone.
Yeah.
Or like, I know how to multitask. Like, I got this. I'm here for you. I'm not going to miss the clip.
Yeah.
I'm sitting on the bottom of the stairs. You're way over there. But he would like yell from far. If I was like, he would like come up to the round and he goes, I can't do it when you're on your phone. I'm like, I'm not on my phone. I'm filming you. But I can see you from over there touching your phone. And like, then he's hyper focusing on that.
Yeah. Maybe that's what it was.
The look at him thing. It's also like, prison is a situation.
Yeah.
When I was just in treatment, one of the guys in there, he had done 13 years. And by the way, this treatment center was really nice.
Yeah.
We had a chef. It's the fact that this guy went to jail doesn't make it all crazy, but he just, he was expressing a lot of things that just have to happen to you when you're in an institutionalized situation like that. And there's always that part of Gabe as well, that some of the tweaks and twerks like that. There's the way the neighborhood he grew up in, being a child during the riots, with the liquor store behind your house burning down, having to choose a side in your neighborhood, going to jail, cops just looking at you because you're black on Normandy. There's a lot of oppression and authority, like in a negative way in that situation. So, to be looking at him in a positive light, that's new to him. That's new territory.
Yeah.
I'm not watching you because I'm free.
God, makes so much sense.
I'm watching you because I'm interested.
Yeah.
And there's still a not used to that feeling.
Yeah.
That can be there.
For the circumstance was literally like just a rail. Doesn't matter. And anybody walking down the street, if they're like half a block away, he would have to wait until they walked by. So they wouldn't, because he would see that they were looking and they wanted to see what would happen. And he just and he had to wait. And I'm like, dude, this is crazy, because you're such like you know, like, and it was kind of only a couple of times because I shot with him a lot, and it was only kind of a couple of times that for some reason, but it makes a lot more sense, like just the circumstances, and it just like it just triggered something.
Well, and you know, where the way he's raised, like, and had to grow up, that's a loose part of the puzzle.
Yeah.
You know, like he looks at people walking down the street also different than us. Like if you have the Terminator vision, it's like registering, like we walk by people that we don't know are in gangs.
Yeah.
He's in LA.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's what I was wondering. So is he in an area where he's like, I'm not even trying to be in front of these people that I don't, you know?
Well,
like,
the one
what you're saying, like, I can't,
the one that I was,
he wants it to be a controlled environment.
Yeah. And that makes sense.
And not like, is this guy going to know who I am? And I got to.
He doesn't like uncontrolled environments.
Deal with this.
That's when chaos is normally present, you know? So,
I mean, I was shooting with him one time and somebody recognized him from jail, and he was like fucking pissed, you know, like he was not fucking psyched at all. You know, like he denied it like 3 times. And finally the guy like said something super specific, and he was like, yeah.
He's trying to push it off. Yeah. It happened with me before too.
He was pissed.
He doesn't want to bring it up.
Yeah. So
trying to put that shit behind him.
Yeah. And even in K-Town, in the No Hype video, he does a trick, and then the handshake he does is for tease. And I won't say any more necessarily on that, but it's the guy that he shook his hand. He was like, yo, this is Miles, who I was telling you about. And the dude shook my hand. He's like, all right, Gabe. And, you know, he walked off, and Gabe had no problem with that dude. And he pulled the trick next try.
Yeah.
And then that ended up being his rap name is I'm TF on YouTube. Mm-hmm. And super rad dude, super good music too. But he's one of the main people I interviewed for Gabe's documentary. And like the pictures I have of him and Gabe, like they were side by side growing up and like in the same situation and circle, you know, in the same gang, you know, literally. Yeah. And I've got pictures of him and Gabe at young ages, and they both went different routes, but like he was always saw Gabe on the bike doing the crazy shit, but he just walked by and it was quick, easy. And then no matter where we were, it always happened. The mixtape, Eric Lichtenberger's intro, that curved wall, and the dudes are standing there. We were filming, and all of a sudden Gabe's across the street, and like he puts his bike down, and it's like I'm noticing this and no one else is, and he's having a serious conversation. And Gabe comes back over and he sits on his bike and he's like, we're good. Like to me. And I'm like, really? Are we good? And he's like, yeah. Like just focus, do your thing. And I'm like, okay, Gabe's got it. And we're leaving the spot. And Gabe told me it's like, it was a rival dude, like that he has beef with. And like they had the gentleman conversation of, we will handle this somewhere else because of what is going on right now. There's white boys with cameras. Anything pops off these dudes, you can't do that around these dudes. People will look for these dudes, you know, like he was like telling him it's not even the right time. Yeah. You know, he's like, for the sake of both of us. And like, we just go about riding again. And, you know, it's like, he always had that radar on. Yeah. And good thing, because we got to ride a bunch of spots, not good thing, but a good thing that he had is we got to ride a bunch of spots we never would have been able to, you know, like
some deep shit. Yeah.
If he kept it from a lot of the riders, but he spoke to me differently, you know, like even the How to Survive in South Central video, that's one day of filming. Yeah. And that's not the only day I rolled through South Central with Gabe. Like I'd pick him up from his house all the time. Then he was on that TV show or whatever. And
what TV show?
It was like a TV show. There was a billboard for it, but somehow
I remember this.
And it was like, it was people from that area trying to get out, and they had to have a goal. And the only thing he knew to make his goal for, because what we were doing, is that he'd get video part of the year from Nora, like on the show. But But I was the only person that he like brought in, and like they're filming me film him on the bike and like doing our thing to get B-roll. And it was like a whole studio production. And he like had him film it in front of his grandma's house where he got shot. And like, he's just a bad motherfucker. But I got to see a lot of his real way of living that no one else was really introduced to. And it just came from picking him up every day and becoming best friends to then, like, you know, I would notice certain things like, I'm not putting Gabe down in any way, but just the realness of it, you know, like we're filming a spot and Gabe leaves and no one really notices. And he goes and handles something down the street or somebody comes around or this and that. But like Gabe was always taking care of things and taking care of his family, you know, living at his granny's house. But it wasn't the stranger paycheck that was putting gas in his Pontiac. You know what I mean? Like he was having to really take care of himself and others. And he did it without letting it get in the way of BMX or BMX getting in the way of it. But it was definitely, I saw both sides of, you know, Gabe being a human being.
Do you think that BMX could have supported him enough to ever really escape it? You know, like
I do.
Yeah,
I do. I mean, I don't know what that number is, but, you know, he was alive when he was with us. Like the thing I would see in Gabe when we'd have the bikes, but like before we got to filming, while we were around his, you know, home, his neighborhood or whatever, like he never let the Gabe you guys know like out.
Yeah.
You know, he was one punch. He was Gabe. He was on guard. And, you know, he spoke to me about it too, but you could just see it when he'd be in the van with us and like how goofy he was. Like he could let his guard down.
Yeah.
And that's when you saw him like shine bright, you know,
funny, fucking just,
jumping over walls when instead of getting a high five, you know, like you got to be in a good mood to be doing some shit like that. And so the escape was definitely real. And, you know, I don't think it would have taken much because I'm definitely not saying he was like an active member or anything on this other side of stuff.
Yeah.
But just like any of us, we have to work. Like he did construction for a while or anything. But I think just a little bit more support would have went a long way, you know?
Yeah.
Enough to just at least like rent a room. Like all we all did. Like no one, I had a 1-bedroom apartment in Hollywood at one time. And I couldn't have done that if I also wasn't able to be a filmer or have like 2 other sponsors, you know?
Yeah.
It's like everyone always had roommates or you'd get a house, you know, but
he also had family to take care of, stuff like that too.
So
I think, man, I don't know.
But I'm still, brand companies were still scared of him though.
Well, that's what I was going to say.
Kink did it. Nobody's at fault, but I'm sure it even a little bit happened with Stranger of like how far. Because, you know, he would have his moments too.
He would have his moments. So, and I know of a couple with the kink dudes and stuff like that, like stuff that, you know, that he just didn't mesh with people at a point, you know, but overall he was loved for sure. I think just the sentiment being, okay, I don't know. I'll say it. I'm debating whether or not I should say it. The come up. So like the come up, you have Stevie, you have Began, you have like these incredibly popular riders. Nobody outside of brands that wanted to fuck with them fucked with him. So and it became like an issue, like Stevie should have had a fucking Red Bull sponsorship. But because he's blasted all over the internet, getting fucking high and drunk and shit like that, and all the shit that kind of made him popular in a weird sense, he never got that deal. And it's not like Dennis never got drunk when he was 17 or something like that, but it was on the internet for Stevie and he had this persona and he was associated with all these people that like kind of fucked up things. So he never got elevated to this outside thing. And it was like a fucked up like purgatory for a lot of those dudes.
So what does this have to do with Gabe?
Because Gabe's in the same boat. Gabe
isn't in the sense.
Gabe was associated with Adam in the come up quite a bit.
Oh, okay. You're saying so when he's on Kink, he's on Kink.
I'm saying the come up. I'm saying Stevie, Began. What's the other?
Gabe was in that mix.
Yeah, he's in that circle. He's in that circle as well. Okay. That's like
your theory on it.
That like a lot of brands, shoe companies, shit like that. He probably would have had brands like jumping on him, you know, did Etnies support him a little bit?
I'm not sure about the Etnies thing.
But I mean, I feel like brands would have like jumped on it because he was like such like a fucking loved.
Right.
To me on the outside, again, it seemed like Gabe was just getting started.
Yeah.
As a fan, you know, of Stranger and Gabe and all of you guys, it just seemed like he was in the beginning. It wasn't.
Yeah, but I mean, 4 or 5 years.
I didn't think
you know,
4 or 5 years.
Stevie's different. Stevie's different than Gabe because
way different.
It just in the sense though, like
Gabe was just getting started.
Gabe was also when he was hanging around the come up. It's because he was also getting shown love.
Of course. Yeah.
And so
I'm not,
that's where he was at with that.
I'm saying it's a little bit of a catch-20,
just getting started
catch-22 with that. Like where you get the love, you get the likes, you get the views, but like
but Gabe never was drunk.
Yeah.
Gabe was never
100%.
smoking blunts.
100%.
Like, he's just being friendly where people are being friendly, you know?
Yeah.
And so that's where I think, the stranger thing was a good look for him. But at the same time, that's us bringing him into that line, like element of partier a little bit more with the brand.
Yeah.
But he still always kept it clean, you know?
He did.
And
he really did.
I think if some of these companies would have actually jumped, it could have made a big difference, you know? Like,
the stranger part was like his best part to date.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like,
but I mean,
he was
best part,
but
like he's one of those ones where like you can't do best part because like in a quitting edit, he bunny hopped over a fucking soccer goal. You know, that's also like Ennis was telling me this last night. Like that's like the coolest. Tony Ennis said that's the coolest bunny hop he's ever seen. And he kept getting over it and just taking his foot off. He was getting over it like over and over and over, and he'd get up and he'd take his foot off to land. And one time he finally just kept his foot off and it's like, you just bunny hopped over a soccer goal.
Yeah.
Like, holy fuck. And so, he was just so fucking good. The photo you took of him Supermaning out of the up rail.
Oh yeah.
It's
I just think if he didn't pass, he was not even close to his prime yet.
100%. 100%.
Like he was still.
And with the timing, that would have been him leaving Stranger. Because he did.
Yeah.
And he was a free agent at that moment, or whatever it's called. Like he was open for business.
And he's almost like one of those guys with a superpower where Instagram was becoming one of the big platforms for everyone to show their shit off. And, look at someone like Brad Sims, like instead of filming video part, you could just hop a soccer goal, go viral, fucking cool athletic dude. And like,
100%.
I think he had the world. He was about to have the world at his fingertips. With
I mean, with BMX, I agree with you, but that's the
glass half full.
Yeah, that's the thing about Gabe is he went to Russia from the hood at like 9 years old or something doing gymnastics.
Yeah,
like he could have walked away from BMX and started doing MMA and
anything.
He's
one of those guys. Anything,
like straight up.
That's what I'm saying. Because
he really was so talented.
Let's say like whatever at Stranger, it was like 7 years deep. Like even like a young kid like Stevie, like in his career, I said he was just in the beginning, but he's already like 15 years deep. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like another 5 years, like it just adds on and builds. Like Gabe this guy could do anything.
And we haven't even brought up rap, which is funny because that's how much he could do anything. But he's also like cousins with Dom Kennedy and like was getting in the studio. Like I have 4 songs that I got from IMTF where Gabe's rapping in the studio on these songs.
Yeah.
And it's like, he is good. He sounds great. His voice is great.
Yeah.
It's like, that's where you think you would go, rap or basketball, but it's like, we're talking about gymnastics, MMA, also rapping. Then he's
roller skating.
He's number 1 at the roller skating rink with a nickname too. Like he gets down, and quads are in now. You know? You see people dancing on quads. Like no matter what he touched, he was actually fucking amazing at it.
Yeah,
it's a shame.
And you can't say that for many people. And he did it differently. He's amazing at it, but it was like he stood out doing it.
Yeah, Yeah.
So,
rest in peace. Obviously,
yeah.
I think Gabe was, for a lot of people, was like confusing, trying to understand him. And, we had that Albion interview where he talks about being shot and stuff like that.
And dude, how many people thought he was faking it?
Yeah, exactly. Like
everything he always said was true. That's what's crazy.
Yeah.
Like, and I've seen it firsthand is what I was trying to get at is like, you hear the crazy stories. Well, was it true? It fucking was, it fucking was. So,
that is so beautiful.
It is. It's so insane.
So beautiful.
Yeah.
Looks like he's going over a dirt jump.
Thank fucking God I timed that correctly.
Yeah.
Because that was a lot of run-ups. That was a lot of goes.
Dude, he's an angel right there, man.
He really is. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
So
I will say
he was a Superman. You know what I mean? Gabe was a Superman.
As a photographer, I fucking hate that palm tree that's intersecting his frame, though. But whatever, But
you shouldn't have said that live. No one ever saw it but you.
Yeah. But I can remove that shit pretty easy these days. Back then I couldn't.
And that up rail's so mellow.
But I also got to pay respect to Gabe in the sense that the documentary is going to be completed.
Cool. A lot of people don't even know about it at this point. So maybe
which is that whole fall off, you know, there's a trailer for it at Simple Session.
Yeah.
I still have some people asking me on Instagram. This is my old Instagram where I had like the following from BMX. It got deleted by Instagram.
I was going to ask about that. I was kind of confused.
Maybe somebody out there can help me get it back. But Instagram deleted it for a really dumb reason and I can't get a hold of anyone. But the other reason that sucks is like 10 years of memories of like with Gabe and Augie and the boys. Like I've lost all that.
You can't get into it, obviously.
Yeah.
And
here, I think this is the trailer. I think we hosted this maybe.
Yeah. What's up with abs? There's MTF right there.
Oh shit.
Dude. When did this come out?
So that was a trailer that we did at Simple Session, right?
2018.
I believe so, yeah.
So I was hitting the ground running with it. Like I've been saying, I'd put this shit out, Da, da, da. This one's different. One, I've never made a documentary before. Two, it hurts to get through. But
I'm sure.
I'm at a spot right now where like all the questions that we asked are sectioned with everyone who answered them. All his writing is all placed. All his hijinks is all placed. Everything's there, and the timeline is still 8 hours long.
Fuck.
But it's all in place. So now I've been talking to this guy, Matt, that he used to skate, but he did a bunch of film, and he's got a studio in Tulsa, and we're old friends, and I want his eyes to go on it. So that way it's not biased of like who's answering the question. And so he's going to get a rough of where he's at from it. I mean, I have it doubled up on a hard drive and we're going to like kind of combine forces, but it will come to light. And, you said maybe people don't know right now, the right people do.
Yeah, of course.
And so he'll still get that. His last part will still come out. So,
fuck yeah. Good to hear. Yeah. Good to hear. Obviously that is something that, you and I have had back and forth on forever. And I've never felt like I know it's fucking hard. I know it. I've like, let alone just the feelings involved and all that shit. Like it's hard. So it's good hard too, though. Like we just watched that. Like everything we're talking about, it's like, I can pick which version of Gabe I want and I can watch it. Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
that's what I mean.
Sad, crazy, like doing front flips off shit. Like I have it all, and it's just like, man, why aren't you just fucking here? Fuck.
Yeah.
So, but it will get done.
Hell yeah.
It will get done.
Fuck. I mean, I don't know where we go from there. You mentioned a lull in between filming that. So maybe that's what we talk about next. LA.
Well, I mean, yeah.
No longer bike ride.
From the Southern California thing back to Tulsa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's where I kind of
losing Gabe, I guess. Maybe we start from there. Losing Gabe.
I was in Tulsa when I got the call for Gabe. So I had already retired. Gabe had left. Rich was down to still play ball. He wanted another video and he was down to do another contract. And I just, selfishly, I didn't want to put out another video part. Yeah. I was getting hurt left and right. And I would say my drinking at that time, I was 2015, I was 25, 26 years old.
You were doing a lot of I mean, you always had these like art spaces, you know, like you always
I
had
was like
this
filming those girls. And
you had the girls, the music videos. You were doing some art shit. You're doing some fucking Mystic videos. You were like being an artist, essentially. You were kind of dove into the LA
video. Like there's one clip where the girl's name's Laura, but we were all on like this acid trip in Joshua Tree. And like my buddy whose birthday it was, he was like, dude, bring your video camera. And I was like, why? And he was like, dude, just do it. Like, I think you should film The Weekend. It's, you know, or he was like a tarot dude. I was staring at the sun with him for like certain amounts of the day, like getting my sun skills, like to be able to stare at sunsets. Like it was, he was a fun, I
didn't know that was a skill I needed.
Well, like when you ground, there's a thing where you start like watching the sunset for seconds and you grow the power to like watch it go down for 5 minutes. And you're only supposed to do it like once every 15 years or something.
Oh,
but
shit.
It is like grounding yoga. It's an extreme part of it.
Okay.
But I'm probably describing it wrong, but it's a thing, I guess.
I respect it.
But anyway, I brought the camera to that thing and we were tripping on acid on this highest spot in Joshua Tree. And like, I started to realize like, wow, like not that I don't have to film bikes, but like I'm filming a Scorpion and then like the sunset and this girl's like dress flowing. And I'm like, oh, this is like how people make alt J music videos, you know, like I can do this actually. And so I put that footage together and it was mind blowing. So yeah, I was starting to move more into what I could do to like financially support myself outside of BMX. And I didn't have another video part in me. My body didn't. And so that meant like, I didn't have it in me to do a whole other DVD. Like I just thought I should just split. And, you know, I think about this a lot actually is if I had just gotten like really into the media side, like most people in my position have done, Will Stroud, Daryl,
Christian,
Calvin.
Yeah, Calvin.
Calvin's still doing both. Like he's still a beast on both. And so I have a FOMO like sometimes of, even when you said we got to get Miles on, like I miss him in BMX. It's like, I miss me in BMX, you know, but at the time the thing to do was to like stop it and turn around, you know, and try something else.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense. It makes sense in a lot of different ways. And, you know, there's a lot of stories of people bouncing between, you know, like I'm going to go chase this because it's lucrative and I'll make more money. And then they come back and they do those romance projects and stuff like that. So there's an in between.
And I'm still open to the romance project. Like, you know, now I make feature films.
Yeah.
And I'm still creative in that. Like I don't hold the video camera, which is awesome because that's like, it's not like filming in BMX. Like you're like a robotic team and there's like, it's just weird. But I get to production design for Roxwell Films and I do a lot of other stuff for like union gigs, like paint and scenic shit and like make it look like whatever. But, you know, where was I going with this? That being said, the romance side, like me and Rickini have tried to, you know, meet up on time. Like it wasn't his fault, but like we were trying to get like at the end, like Red Bull to put me and him into a situation where everyone would be like, oh shit, Miles and Sean linked back up and put out a video. You know, and that I think that could have started something where it kind of could have been a cool thing that I would do where then I'd like, you know, after doing that one, I could be like, hey, Dennis, like, would you want to jump in on a one-on-one again? And like, it just be this weird thing where it's like a rider and me make a new part, you know? And it wouldn't be like an everyday bread and butter thing, but it would just be like when there's a gap in whatever I'm doing or they're doing. And it'd be like, if we could get a month somewhere or some shit, like I would still be open to that right now. Like
that's fucking definitely possible.
Yeah. If
So,
anyone's listening,
I mean,
I am down to go somewhere and film, you know, like that's not out of the question.
That's there.
What about Tulsa? You got spots there? Like, I feel like there's so many spots there.
Dude,
I've never been to Tulsa, so
I went real quick, but I didn't get to see shit.
It's so funny that like Tulsa's so dope.
It's so like, slept on.
But the people who have gone, look at what you've seen. Fiend and Cinema.
Didn't GT go there and Rob did some crazy shit?
On the crazy pillar things,
that
right? Yeah, I think that was Tulsa.
Yeah.
Tulsa's got spots, man. And Kink went there. Like that's when Nathan does that fucking was it Crook Tires 180 bar down the square rail? Like Tulsa's got spots, but yeah, only like outside of what I've done there. Not to sound like that, it's my hometown. But outside of that, like Profile would come around with Matt Copeland. His wife lives there, or like his wife's mom or whatever. For whatever reason, Copeland comes around and rides with Russ and Kyle Kissling and some of the local dudes there. But other than that, like it's been like Fiend and The Trip and
that was
Cinema
probably a decade ago at this point.
Yeah, like and you know, you hear like Garrett's like, dude, Tulsa's got spots. They came, but no one else comes. You know, it's like some people should go there straight up. So
and hit you up.
No, yeah, hit me up, but I'd probably pass the torch a little bit. Like I mean, I went around with the kink dudes, but like I brought Matt Marquise with me. He's one of the Gully Factory original riders and was on BSD through Tony, like not through Tony, but him, Westcott and Tony and Elkin all grew up together. And Marquise he's a fucking tire riding force to deal with. He moved to Tulsa. And so he's found a bunch of new spots and he's a big part of the new community that does like the Wednesday night ride. And, you know, there's a new scene there. It's not like Tulsa back in the day, like with VXs and shit, but there's some cool shit to do in Tulsa, but there's definitely some guys I would let tour guide some other teams.
Oh, yeah.
Like not let them, but like they're there and ready to show you guys the shit, you know, like.
Yeah. You still jumping on the pedals? You still ride at all?
When I do, it's with Marquise. I was trying to ride like once every once in a while with him and like my knees were giving me a problem. And, but now with the kid, that's the good thing. He's all over being on his little Strider bike and didn't even push it down his throat, but he's like super into bikes.
Yeah.
And
He showed us a
trucks.
video. He's on the bed doing, that's like he's trampoline
tramp
biking already.
He jumped down my 3-stair the other
awesome.
day when we were in the backyard. Like,
Hell
because
yeah.
he picks it up. So he walked up the 3-stair and I was like, it's in his blood. And I was joking. He's like,
Yeah.
he's like walking up the set.
You're
You
like,
know?
let me film you
And
walking
then all
up
of a
that,
sudden
son.
he's coming down and he OTBs down the 3 set. And I'm like, oh my God, fucking dude.
You're like, you really got it in him.
And he just gets up and laughs and like, because, you know, I let him do what he wants when it comes to shit like that. But now with having the kid, I took him to the skate park a few times and I could just really feel how like out of shape I was because I was drinking, you know, every day.
Yeah.
So now after this little moment that I had, and this is going to be my long life term of sobriety. I want to ride the skate park with my son, you know.
Gary said something a long time ago.
That's awesome,
where
dude.
he's like, yeah, I want to be able to like throw my kid around and play with my kid and stuff like that, you know? And I'm like, dude,
It's
that
legit.
is fucking real. Like,
Yeah.
as your kid gets older and they get fucking stronger and faster and you get slower and shittier,
100%.
you're like, all right,
Well,
I need to try at least for them. And it's
100%.
Yeah.
I mean, and I do want to clear the air with that. Like, you know, and you can be attest to this. I've been a very functioning alcoholic for a long time.
Yeah.
Like I don't get drunk and fight people or pass out or hit my fiance. Like it's just like Gary saying, I need to be there for 30 more years minimum, you know, like that's me being 65.
Yeah.
That's it. If I can make it to 65, I'm fucking stoked, you know, especially being sober, it'll be easier to go longer. But yeah, it's just like the being present and accountable. And like, you know, no one knows I'm drinking in a sense. Like that might sound like a lie, but you know what I mean? Like
That's one of the hardest
was
parts about
working.
being a functioning alcoholic
Right.
is no one's really telling you to stop.
Exactly.
And you're having fun.
So
You're not
that's
doing
why I
anything
did this
bad.
whole little thing is like, it's so that I'm there for him.
Yes.
separate.
And
So it was a 30-day thing.
yeah,
Yeah, that's sick, man. And one thing that I've noticed throughout this entire conversation, how self-aware you are. And I think that is like such a important trait to have, because if you can't hold yourself accountable for your own flaws, then you're just going to be arguing people. You have to be aware of your own flaws. And
Yeah,
so,
you
and
literally
that's-
you didn't
yeah.
make one excuse about any of your stories, and everything is like you see both sides to everything.
yeah. Well, I appreciate you guys noticing that.
Yeah. And that dude, like having a kid changes you too.
Yeah.
Like even for me, when it was, you know, we just casually drank, but it was like, yeah, I felt like I would be, I always use the analogy of like, oh, I started the day at 80% because I had a few drinks last night.
Right.
And then at the end of the day, who suffered? it was like, oh, my kid, because that 20% was his that I had a couple of drinks the night before. And that's when I kind of like chilled out on like, you know, the casual drinking of us like watching a show, even just my wife and I just watching a show and then just be like, have that slight hangover. It's like, that's not worth it. We'll just chill, you know? So
no, you're 100% right. Yeah. And then, you know, there's certain things that you can't deny when you learn them. And it's like, one of those things is like, okay, you're Miles Rogoish and you're this filmer and you're this and that. And you can do that and you can drink and no one's better at you doing that. And you're drinking. Yeah. Well, cut the 45-pound weight of drinking.
Yeah.
And then you're how much faster and better, you know, like you might be the most qualified one in the room, but you're still holding yourself back to a full potential.
Was there ever a time where you thought you couldn't actually function in the sense of like you weren't as creative as you thought you were without the alcohol?
That's a blame. That's a crutch.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's an easy one to tell
self-awareness.
yourself, you know, it's an easy one to tell yourself.
Yeah.
But it's not true.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't need it.
100%. So. Yeah, that's good. I mean, dude, like, you pass the question instantly. Like, that's what I mean. Like, it is that. Like, that's the way, you know, you get drunk. No, I'm way more creative when I'm fucking had a couple of drinks. No, you're not. You're not. You're really not. So it's, dude, I'm so proud of you. Like, I was looking at your Instagram earlier today and I was confused about the followers because I was like, what the fuck is happening? You know? And then, so that makes more sense. But seeing you and your family and the photo, your kid is gorgeous.
Thank you.
Your wife is gorgeous. The photo of you on the beach is adorable. I love to see that shit, man.
I feel like a fucking weirdo in that photo. Like, not actually, but it's like, it's like it could be one of those pictures that's in the frame before you buy
exactly.
it. You know?
Yeah.
I'm like, who did I become, dude? Like, you know?
Yeah.
But that's what you want with a family, you know? Like,
it really is.
I want to be throwing my son,
exactly.
or catching my son from my wife throwing it on the beach. Fucking sue me, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm wearing khaki shorts and a white button-up shirt. Fuck off. You know, we're beige in this picture. You know, the theme was beige. Okay. And we did it. All right.
I love it, dude. I love it. I don't know, man. I feel like we keep going for like 3 more hours, but that was a beautiful way to call it right there.
No,
like
I love waiting on the curb.
I know he probably is sitting on his phone outside. So but dude,
thank you guys for having me.
Thank you
man.
so much.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
3.5 hours of fucking too easy, dude. Good to see you, man.
Dude, thanks, guys.
Cheers to you.
Hell yeah.
Sweet.
Hell yeah. Awesome.
Cool. I feel great.
You should, dude.
I was nervous.
You have such like a, you're so easy to talk to. Yeah. You have such like a fucking cool, wild.